DARPA wants a train on the moon. The last Delta IV Heavy is getting ready for its final launch, and we're already well on our way to Starship Flight 4. Welcome to this week's NSF Live.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside at speed off. Bring in at speed off. It's orange!
45. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome again to another week of NSF Live. This is our weekly hangout / news show. If you have missed it in previous weeks, we've kind of tweaked the format a little bit, tweaked the day, tweaked the time, and yeah, we hope you're enjoying the new setup. But let's just jump right into it. We've got a lot to talk about this week. I'm Jack Byer for NSF. You know me, the guy with the beard and the bacon and the orange. You get it. Also joining us for today's show, as per usual, is EJ, who is smiling in a disconcerting way. EJ, how are you doing?
Oh, hey. Yeah, everything's good. Yeah, I'm doing fine. My brother just came, dropped me off at the airport. How are you doing?
Not the moon port?
I mean, if it's a space shuttle, you could land at an airport.
All right, I'll allow it. Speaking of the shuttle, we have Sawyer also on today's NSF Live, and you even have a little shuttle in the background. What's up, Sawyer?
I do. It is a model, of course, of Endeavour. I want to start with a poem. There once was a man from Peru who dreamed he was eating his shoe. He awoke in the night with a terrible fright to find that his trains go choo-choo.
What?
It'll make sense once we get into the topic, won't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were
Anyways,
talking in the pre-show, if for members, we were talking in the pre-show of how many times are we going to say choo-choo? So I'm starting us off strong with one choo-choo.
All right, we got one down. Chad, I'm counting on you to keep track here of our
I
choo-choo
promise it'll
count.
make sense. I promise.
So, yeah, I mean, let's just jump right into it. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, is that what DARPA stands for? I think it is. Has asked Northrop Grumman to study the feasibility of a train on the moon. The moon train, baby, let's go. Choo-choo, yeah. Does that count as one or two choo-choos?
That's
At least one. Okay, two. That's fine.
All right, so we're up to three. We're up for those keeping count. We're up to three. So yeah, I think this is a really nifty thing because I feel like the Venn diagram of space nerds and train nerds, like there's a significant crossover between the two. I like trains. I think we can all agree car bad, train good. I mean car also okay, but mostly train good is the takeaway here. And this is pretty interesting. I mean obviously there's a long road to go from like a feasibility study to an actual functioning train on the moon. This is not saying there will be a train on the moon, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to think about lunar infrastructure in general and what the future of lunar activities could look like, especially if we start getting into large-scale in-situ resource utilization. I mean, if we're going to want to turn the moon into a giant gas station for interplanetary vehicles, then we need infrastructure. So yeah, moon train. I mean, I don't. I just want to run around shouting moon train because I'm so excited about this even being a possibility. But I don't know, EJ. What was your reaction? What's your take on the old moon train. Choo choo. That's 4.
Did you just say car bad?
Car bad. Yes, car bad.
Uh-oh.
Car bad, train good.
Okay, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that. Moon trains. I like it. I think it's cool. I saw the contract and like it was in the morning and I hadn't had coffee yet, and I was just scrolling through social media as one does, and I scrolled by. I'm like, oh, Northrop Grumman moon train, and then I went, wait, what did that just say? And then I went and read the press release, and I was like, moon train. Didn't have that on the bingo card today, but
did not.
I'm here.
No.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Sawyer, what about you?
That was another one of those where you see the headline and go, okay, is this the Onion? It really felt like it was going to be an Onion piece, and yet, no, turns out it's actually Northrop Grumman on their website. It's real. It's an idea. And I mean, I get it, but like if you think of all the cool sci-fi shows, it's always like a point-to-point type deal going between locations, or you take the long drive on a Louvre rover before some random monster attacks you in like Apollo 18 or something. But
What?
you never see any movie where it's like, you know what? Let's take the train between all of these different ones. I think Andy Weir may have had something similar to that, if I recall, going between domes in, I forget the one that he had set on the moon, but it's such a weird idea to think that the U.S. can't even build its own train network here, but will build trains on the moon.
Hey, whoa. You say car bad, and you say we stink at building trains? We don't stink at building trains. We stink at moving people around with trains. Our
Okay,
train network's really
that
good.
is
That
a fair
tracks.
distinction.
That tracks.
Wow, Sawyer.
You melon
Wow.
farmer.
But no, that's a good distinction, EJ. We are really good at rail freight, and we're really bad, we as in the U.S., at humans on trains for some reason. But well, I mean, if you want, we can unpack train good, car bad. Like I'm here for that. Like I'm not saying I don't like cars, but yeah, I mean, maybe we focus on the old moon train. Are they?
Here, I got you. So a train, a car are just avenues of transportation. All right, they're a tool for logistics, for moving people or cargo around. With that being said, every tool has its own purpose. There are times where trains are better than cars. There are times where cars are better than trains, trucks. Times when a container ship is good. If there's an ocean in the way, it's probably useful. Plane works for getting stuff around quick over long distances. That being said, every form of transportation that we have is a different tool in a tool belt. If you have all the tools, got to utilize the right tool for the job. All right. Now, in the case of the moon, I don't know. So they're going to go and build a moon train, and the contract specifically mentions how are you going to what are we talking about here? I would assume an elevated train, right?
Elevated, an L on the moon.
Yeah, think about it, right? Are you going to sit there and grade stuff all day? Trains don't like going up hills. They don't like going up hills, and they can go down hills, but they go. You can cook the brakes if you're dynamic braking. Yes, I'm a train nerd, just in case anybody's wondering. They're trained. It should be flat. It should be flat and it should be straight. Best way to do that is with an elevated train. Unless we want to start digging lunar tunnels here. I mean, there's some guy that likes spacecraft. Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that likes spacecraft that also likes tunnel boring machines out there. I mean, maybe, but I mean, what I'm really wondering is okay, so how a train bed works, right, is one that would be on Earth, right? Doesn't matter. I mean, high-speed rail, it doesn't matter if it's high-speed rail, freight, whatever. I mean, freight probably would be thicker because it's heavier, right? You're carrying around a heavier consist, right? So how a train bed basically works is you have a subgrade of gravel, right, for drainage purposes, and you have ballast on top of that. The ballast is there to distribute the weight of the train. Very similar to the crawler transporter. Crawler transporter is the same idea, right? But the reason why they use the crawler transporter is they don't have a single point load of 15 million pounds because SLS and a mobile launcher, it's kind of heavy. You could distribute the load over the train, right? There's no single point area with 15 million pounds, right? So you have the ballast to distribute it, right? And like in the case of the crawler, the reason why they use the crawler is because, yeah, it's just one big heavy skyscraper of a thing. With a train, right, you have rails, and that's distributing the load to the ballast, and under that is drainage. So, okay, let's start ticking off boxes here. You don't need drainage, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure you don't need that. So,
Nope.
Okay, what are we using for ballast here, right? And what are we using for railroad ties? A lot of train tracks either have concrete or wooden railroad ties. I'm going to go ahead
not
and
much
guess.
wood on the moon.
Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure that doesn't exist there. I mean, it could in greenhouses. That would be kind of cool. But I mean, you know,
I
wouldn't
would
have to worry about.
assume
What's up?
lunar regolith, like concrete for the ties.
Using, yeah, exactly.
This kind of goes into like
Go ahead.
one of my questions about the whole concept is how train-like will this train be? Like,
Yeah.
there's a spectrum, right? Of
Mhm.
one of them is just wheeled vehicles that are all connected and pulled by a engine at the front, but there's not like rails and everything. That's like one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is like there's rails, there's ties, there's an engine on the front, maybe some sort of electrification or something.
Mhm.
So I'm really curious, like how trainy this train ends up being. Like I see somebody in chat saying, could it be a monorail?
I don't see
If it
why
starts
it
playing
wouldn't.
It's a Small World, I'm gonna riot.
It could
Oh,
be
yeah,
a
I'm
monorail. I'll
with
say
you on
that.
that one.
Oh, good pun.
Dude,
And the
not
other
you
thing
two.
I think that it has going for it here is the fact that, again, we're talking on the lunar surface where you have 1/6 the gravity. So in terms of the systems and everything that you might use to build, to break, obviously keeping in mind, though, that even though it's 1/6 gravity, it still has the same amount of mass. But, you know, you've got that going for you, which is nice. And then, again, you do have that question. Are we talking like a Disney-style monorail, or like you're in Queens and you've got the subway going above ground for a little bit?
Like I said, I mean, because we can't really get ballast, they can make concrete ties, but you still have to make up for the grade. So I think we're going to see something that ends up looking like a Shinkansen track. Like it's going to be, because if you can use the lunar regolith as cement, and then you can make concrete out of that, then, you're good. But even then, you still have the point load of each piling. Like, are we piling down to bedrock? What's the lunar geology like? We don't know. We only sent one geologist there one time, and he dug a hole like maybe 1 foot into the ground or 30 centimeters into the ground. Like, we need to take core samples here to do something like this, right? Like
Right.
that would just be smart. Also, it's orange.
It's orange.
In terms of like what the train looks like, dude, you're a monorail would be good. I mean, Sawyer, you were saying obviously you're moving similar amounts of mass, right? But
Right.
you don't have the weight. Now that's simultaneously a train's Achilles heel, and also the reason why this train can go off the rails. So trains have really low. Yeah. There you go. I'm joining in, right? Trains have really low rolling resistance. Oh no, I got buzzed. Wait, why'd you buzzer me and not them? What the heck, man?
Well, I guess we've got the fighting bell. We've got that. All we're missing is a choo-choo sound effect. Actually, there's a train going by. There's a train going by my house this very moment.
Yes.
Nice. As per tradition.
Right?
That was good.
I mean,
timing.
a monorail might make sense, or some kind of maglev thing, because then you don't have to deal with, like regolith getting in bearings and things like that. Like there is no bearing. The best bearing is no bearing. But I don't know. I imagine maglev is relatively power hungry.
Power would be the problem there.
Right. But I like the idea of an L. Although I do want to go back to something you said a second ago, EJ. Straight. It needs to be straight. Is that because the lower gravity? Like if you have a tight turn, you might get cars coming off the track because there's less gravity to sort of keep them on the rails.
Well, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Trains have an Achilles heel, but that's simultaneously why they're so good at moving things around. You have low rolling resistance. On a train that works down here on Earth, you have a metal wheel, metal rail. Low rolling resistance means that you can, trains will roll forever, right? How long does it take a train to stop? Because you build up all that momentum. But that simultaneously works the weight of the train is also what gives it tractive effort. You need tractive effort, but you have tractive effort. They, like I said, they make up for the low friction, the low rolling resistance by having a heavy locomotive. That's any train, right? So you don't have that on the moon because the weight. I mean, these trains, what are they going to, it's going to look like an anvil going around. You can make up for it. The train would need to be 6 times the mass of a normal train down here. I mean, granted, we're not just going to take like a big boy and put it on the moon. I mean, I'm sure somebody would like to see that out there. I personally, that'd be kind of cool, right?
Hi.
So you have the gravity working to your advantage, but also stuff will come off the rails. I'm picturing some type of elevated train that looks kind of like a roller coaster, right?
See, okay, that's another thing I wanted to hit on is
you have wheels on the top and the bottom. You're increasing rolling resistance, right? But you're
already thinking what I'm thinking. Yeah,
it's not going to come off the rails. Like trains don't like really turning. I mean, they can. Trains don't like turning because you got to slow down for a corner. And trains don't like going up hills. They don't like going up hills. They don't like going down hills, right? That's really, really important to understand. That's why, if you picture like a train in your mind moving somewhere, like you're on a road next to a train, the train track's usually like elevated because they're trying to keep the grade on the tracks. So that's a distance, rise over run elevation, grades are measured in percentages. So like if you have a 1% grade, it's for every 100 meters, you're going up 1 meter. And the percentages transfer. So it could be 100 feet for a foot. You could do either one, whatever your unit of measurement that you prefer. So, I mean, if we have something like a roller coaster, you could probably deal with the grades, right? But you're still going to end up having low rolling resistance. And on the moon, that's going to work more against you than for you than it does like down here on Earth.
Does it make a difference if we're talking? There it is.
Yonk.
Do you think it makes a difference if we're talking distance here? Because it just said, between different outposts. It doesn't really specify. Are we talking from a mine that's, a couple hundred meters away from the base? Or are we talking about a completely different research base or, say, a lunar telescope or something that's kilometers and kilometers away? And yes, I use metric.
Yeah. All right. We don't judge you that much.
What even is a kilometer?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but it sounded good.
So, I mean, Sawyer, I did put some thought into this, dude, but I don't want to just sit here rambling all day. I mean, long story short,
I'm here for it, for the record, please.
Okay. Okay. I mean, so what uses would you have for a train? Landing sites. Probably don't want any base near where a starship HLS is coming down because of regolith ejecta. That's probably something you don't want. I mean,
that makes sense.
That's a good one. If there's an ice mine somewhere, right? The ice mine is going to be in darkness. So, because that's where the ice is on the moon, it's in the shadowed craters that are permanently shadowed at the north and south poles, right? So a train going to there, I mean, you don't want your hab modules in darkness the whole time, or do you? I don't know.
I mean, if it was me, yes, because I'm a creature of the night. But not everybody is. Not everybody is built that way. But no, it's a good question to ask, and you figure the more infrastructure that's built up, if there's a base over here and a mine over there and a landing site over there, it just makes sense to have some sort of highly efficient. Hi, Alicia. Some sort of highly efficient method of transportation that goes in between all of those places.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell. I've put some pretty good thought into this because I'm a little bit of a train nerd.
Yeah, it was talked about on the newest This Week in Space, which came out today. Right. You could see some of the discussions and renderings and things like that there. All I know for sure
Ryan's
is
highly advanced simulation, which I need to ask Ryan what stock footage he used for this, because I swear I've driven past this junction in the Mojave Desert, but I could be wrong.
That? Yeah.
Sorry, This Week in Space Flight. I'm being told I have to say the full name.
Oh
yeah, Ryan's getting on you in the back channel.
Yeah. Okay, This Week in Flight. Yeah. Got it.
This week in flight space. Huh?
Yeah.
Choo
What was
choo.
that? What was that stock footage that we were showing? That looks like Pueblo. There's a
Oh, it
there's
could be.
there's a train test track out in Colorado that's a little ways. I think it's a little ways east of Denver. And
I like how Ryan can correct Sawyer on not saying spaceflight in the name This Week in Spaceflight, and yet he has remained conspicuously silent on what stock footage this is. Like there's no help from Ryan right now. Thank you, Ryan.
It's obviously shot on the moon, duh.
Oh yeah, because it's white. Right, I got it.
Because it's black and white. Yeah, it's got to be on the moon.
Yeah. Are there clouds on the moon? They're moon clouds?
That's regolith that was kicked up by the trains.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Oh man. Anyways, I'm 100% here for Moon Train. I think we all love Moon Train and want to see it actually happen. Hopefully, it comes to fruition and doesn't just end up as another one of those studies that's sort of examined and then left by the wayside. So, we got a. That doesn't tell me anything, Ryan.
I volunteered to
Pixels,
do
Rod.
the stand clear of the closing doors, please, or mind the gap.
Bing, bing. Yeah, there you go.
I volunteered.
Oh,
for
this is the Brooklyn
Manténgase
Brown
alejado de
Moon
las
Train. Everyone
puertas.
aboard the Moon Train.
Oh, jeez.
No, you're saying it wrong. Then it would be. That's more like how it sounds.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I feel like we're causing psychic damage to EJ right now.
Yep. Yep.
Causing? I think caused.
Yes. I mean, it's an ongoing process. So it makes sense for connecting different bases, outpost mines, all of that stuff. I mean, do we think that this is plausible? That like in the next 10, 20 years, sometime in our lifetimes, we'll see proper moon bases enough so that there's a necessity to connect them with some sort of mass transit like this?
I mean, you got to remember, this seems to be a feasibility study. So they're looking. Right. So, I mean, at least from what I can surmise, you'd have to look at the contract, right? Like, if it is a feasibility study, NASA's basically going to Northrop Grumman and saying, like, if you were going to build a train on the moon, how would you do it? That's, figure it out. So, I mean, I think it's possible. Sure. Why not?
And see, I'm going to regret saying this, depending on how loud the bell is. I don't, honestly. I'm going to be the pessimist on this one. Like you said, yeah, it's a feasibility study, but with the way things have been going with the lunar program of even just getting there to begin with, the whole starting to land, and I know that's something we might discuss a little bit later on in terms of the funding to get there.
That's a lot of members. You're getting buzzed.
What is this, a Gong show? Come on, or America's Got Talent, or whatever.
It's the Moon Train show.
Circle gets the square. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, never mind.
No, but
I'd like to buy a vowel.
I think we can see a lunar base set up, but in our lifetime, it was probably towards my older years, if we're being brutally honest. But I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, but I appreciate your realistic assessment. You know what, Kevin?
If we're really doing the Gong show, I'll go get an ice pop. Then we'll be right back.
All right.
For those of you that are old enough to get that reference.
It's something that I mean, I think clearly anybody that's a space nerd, anybody that's watching NASA Spaceflight Live, anybody that knows who we are and what we do, we're all kind of on the same page. Like, we want our moon base and we want it now. It's my moon base and I want it now. Call 1-800 Senator Administrator NASA Bill Nelson. But no, it's yeah. Sorry, EJ, you're gonna need you're gonna need like a cold beer and a sauna after this. Like, I'm sorry, man. Hang in there. But for real, we all want it to happen. Realistically, will it happen? It's hard to say, especially given how should I put this? The NASA budget fun time that we will discuss in a little bit. So that's also, one of the ramifications that we need to consider to all of this. But yeah. Any more moon train thoughts before we move on? I'm going to look for some moon train questions, and maybe I'll give your final moon train appraisal.
I mean, I do appreciate that NASA, it's, or not even NASA, it's DARPA. I mean, it's kind of interesting that it came from DARPA, not NASA, but at least somebody in the government is thinking about this kind of stuff. They're thinking about infrastructure for the moon. I think that's a pretty cool thing in general. I mean, sorry, I really hope you're wrong on this, but
Me too.
at least someone's thinking about it. Like, I'll take that. I'll take it.
Well, I believe NASA's going to be announcing their, the lunar rover builder contract winners very soon.
Yeah,
So
that's next.
they're kind of thinking
week.
along the same line I'm thinking of with all the movies and obviously the early Apollo program of, hey, you know what? Let's drive a buggy around the moon to get to where we need to go farther.
Right. That's kind of where I was coming from. Like,
Yeah.
What is a moon train? Like, for it to be a train, does it have to have rails? We can get into philosophical train discussions really fast, but like, is it more of a caravan where there's a leader that's a vehicle that's got wheels that pulls the rest of the vehicles, and it's just a long train of wheeled vehicles with no tracks? Like, is that a train? I don't know.
I mean, road trains could work, but see, I mean, you're talking about pulling a road train over an unprepared surface, the regolith. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, the other thing I wanted to bring up, dude, it's like, sorry, you just commented on it. Like, they still have a rover contract here. So, if you're building out a train, you're going to need rovers to build it anyway, right? Like if you go back to, American history, they used the horse and buggy to build the railroad because cars didn't exist, right? So you're still going to need another avenue of transportation here. And that's what I mean about tools in your tool belt, Jack, I think it'll be rails. I think it'll be something rail-based, and I think the rovers are going to build it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So is NSF a train since we're always off the rails?
Ugh. Well, if we're not on rails, wouldn't we be a truck or a car then?
So NSF Live, the truck, train, car?
The implication is that there are rails, we're just not using them. Jesme 2006 is saying Starship point-to-point on the moon would seem more realistic. I mean, I get where you're coming from in the sense that you're going to have starships on the moon, given that you're landing people there, but I feel like there's still logistical challenges. Like, how do you get something from where, let's say, like ice? You're mining the ice in a crater, you bring it to the rim of the crater somehow for shipping or star shipping, to elsewhere on the moon. Does that really make sense to have a starship dedicated to that? I mean, I guess it needs less infrastructure to be built, but you're still dealing with, like we were talking about a moment ago, regolith ejecta from engines landing and what. Like, we still don't know how that's all going to work. We know Starship has dedicated landing engines for the lunar variant, but at the same time, we don't know that that's going to be a complete solution to the problem of exhaust plumes impinging on the surface and ejecting large amounts of regolith. We hope it is. We assume it will be, but until we actually get a Starship test landing on the moon, that's going to remain a big question.
I mean, dude, like, so if we're down here on Earth, okay, what's the quickest and the fastest way to do something, right? An airplane. Does that mean you're going to fly to your grandma's house if she lives down the street? I mean, this is what I mean about every piece of infrastructure has a tool, is a tool for a purpose, right? Cars are good for short distances. Trains are good for long, medium to long distances. And then Starship hops, in this particular case, would be your proverbial airplane on the moon. These are all different avenues of transportation, and they all have purpose. Starship, with refueling, theoretically has 100 tons down mass. Like, it could bring down the equipment to make regocrete cement, lunar regolith cement, and then another one regocrete, Chat
love it.
said that. And then you could have another starship bring the train down, and then you could use, like, I don't know, maybe use the crane on starship to put the train on the rails or whatever. Like, you know, you might not want to hop around. You might not want to hop around a starship, you know, for infrastructure purpose, right? Same way, like, you wouldn't fly a 747 to go to the grocery store. I mean, let's be real. We all would.
I mean,
like,
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we all would.
I would. Give me the
But-
option.
Yeah. That'd
I'm
be a
not
better
saying-
way to do it.
I'm not saying it's smart or efficient or that it even makes sense, but I would.
I mean,
Yeah,
Taylor
no.
Swift would with her private jet. You know the memes.
Oh, jeez.
But in all
Trevor isn't even
seriousness,
here, man.
in all seriousness, though, the way that I think about it also is with like cars. You typically, unless you have an off-roading vehicle, cars need a road. Trains need a track. Airplanes need a runway to land on. How does that infrastructure then change when you're on the lunar surface, when you can basically drive anywhere? So at that point, you can then technically, essentially fly anywhere, which does make something like that more viable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chat said space
Take your
Trabant. Oh my gosh. Not the space Trabby. Can we just leave that on Earth, please?
Yes, we can.
Hey, Jake.
Bruce in
United
chat is saying, I'm a former locomotive engineer, and EJ is spot on.
I would
But we
expect
knew that
nothing
already.
less from EJ.
I like trains. What do you want?
Train good, car bad.
I
No.
like trains.
Don't do that. What you realize what you're saying is like hammer good, screwdriver bad. That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what
yes,
I'm saying. That's not. No, I'm saying hammer good, worse hammer bad. Is what I'm attempting to say.
Even Jake's
Like, I
confused with
understand
that.
your argument that they're different tools, and I'm not saying I never want to have a car or drive a car. I just wish so much of our infrastructure on Earth, or at least in the U.S., had taken into account trains versus just. I mean, I'm from LA. It's the car city, right? It's the sprawl and the traffic. Everyone's always like, "Oh, you're from LA? What is the traffic?" And it's like, it's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. But also, if we had functioning public transit, you know, like subways and trains, it's better. It's better for certain things. Train good, car bad.
Better tool for the job.
Yes.
Use a screwdriver for a screw and a hammer for a nail.
All right, moving on. Bart Van, I'm not even going to try and say your last name. They say they should have asked Lego instead of Northrop Grumman. They already had Futron monorail in the 80s. I'm pretty sure I had that set.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
That set is
Did you have
amazing. I wanted it, never got it.
It's a blast from the past.
I know of
dude.
it. Never actually
Good
got
call.
to do anything with it.
The gray monorail tracks with the gear teeth in it. That thing was
Right.
the thing was awesome, dude. I love that set.
Right. And then you got to like periodically take the little engine thing and like pick the pet hair out of the gear on the motor because you have way too many pets. Anyways, that's just me. Tom is saying a train like a roller coaster with wheels on the bottom. That's what we were talking about a few moments ago. I agree. Something like that makes a lot of sense given the low grav environment. Bitty Bit says either a train or cars. Shouldn't we first have at a minimum 2 moon bases with people before this makes sense? Yes, of course. This is not. They're not saying we're going to build a train tomorrow on the moon. This is just looking at one possibility for solving a problem should we get to a point where it's a problem that needs solving.
I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily, let's build between 2 moon bases, right? It's just between 2 points, right? So point A and point B. Why would you, and whatever the use case is for A not being near B, right?
Right. And I mean, to one of your examples earlier, like a landing pad, even if it's just a landing pad a couple hundred yards away from a habitat, like think about an airport. What do you do when you're at most major airports? You go through security, then you get on the little train thing, and then go to the actual terminal. Even if it's not a long distance, it's still useful to have a device to shuttle people from one place to the other, even if they're horrible wheeled trains that don't actually have rails and all of that.
This is Orlando Mayor. Buddy
You've been flying
Dwyer.
to Orlando too much.
Thank you.
Say, you've been flying to
you know-
Orlando too much if that's the case with Mayor Daley.
If you know, you know. And then when you leave, he's like, "Thanks for being in Orlando," and it's like, "You got it, buddy."
That whole announcement could be like, "Welcome to Orlando. We have Disney World." Click.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know why you're here. We know why you're here. Come here.
That's it.
Disney
Not
World.
even we have Disney
Click.
World. It's just we know why you're here.
Yep. Summer doesn't exist here. Or winter
It's
doesn't
always-
exist here.
It's
summer.
always summer.
It's been a
Therefore,
long day.
we hope you don't enjoy seasons.
Is that the sequel to It's
Um,
Always Sunny in Philadelphia? It's Always Summer in Orlando.
Dude, I went to Philly once and it was, raining. So, I mean, the whole show is kind of a lie. Just
kind of a lie.
Choo. Off go the rails.
And finally here, JC5000 is saying, if the rails can mesh with a gear, you can take it up a mountain. Just don't have smooth rail trains, and you don't have many of the problems talked about. I mean, we even have geared trains here on Earth. I mean, I grew up for a short period of time in Colorado, right near Pikes Peak, and there was a cog railway that went up the dang mountain using geared. Well, it had regular wheels, and then it had a fifth geared wheel. Anyways, I don't think it exists anymore. But either way, that's a thing. Good point, JC5000.
Yeah, that's a good call. Cog trains can go up very high grades. You can get like a 30 or 40% grade with a cog railway. So like if you were trying to elevate resources out of a crater, like you were saying, Jack, that might not be the worst idea. Right.
I like this. I feel like we should have like a NSF Live think tank. And maybe we'll get some DARPA funding.
I thought you were going to say Shark Tank for a second or Dragon's Den, but yeah.
Also, yes. Do you guys watch I Think You Should Leave?
Fine, I will. You didn't have to be mean about it.
I mean, no.
Okay, well, it's a really amazing show. I Think You Should Leave. They do a Shark Tank bit. It's amazing. Anyways, moving on. Abhaya Teal, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. Choo choo, you get Discord access, so stop on into the station. I don't know where I'm going with this. You get Discord access at Capcom and above. So thanks for becoming a member, and pop into the member Discord. Also, members in the member Discord, we're doing a pre-show for NASA Spaceflight Live. So if you were in the pre-show earlier, thanks for being in the pre-show. And if you want to be a part of the pre-show where you can see us freaking out about technical issues and or riffing on whatever we're going to talk about in a less structured way, pre-show exists. Bideford, we love you, Bideford. Thank you for the support.
Bideford can see that, though.
Yeah, but it's just for Bideford, nobody else. They say orange for Jack, EJ, and Sawyer. Only Sawyer. Choo choo.
Choo
John,
choo.
oh God, I always get John's name wrong. John Depker.
You got
I
it.
got that right. John Depker. Hey, thanks for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. You're awesome for that. And if you got one from John or anybody else, be sure to thank them. And glancing at chat, Spidia just says funicular, which is a fun word and also a type of train. So there you go.
If you're going up a hill, maybe, yeah.
Right. There's a really nice one in LA. If you've never been on the Angel's Flight funicular, it's like 100-year-old something thing that goes up the hillside in downtown LA, right across from the Grand Central Market. Highly recommend.
There's a subway terminal that's like a couple blocks away from that.
Yes, actually. Okay, so again, car bad, train good. The trains that we do have in LA, really nice. Like for a long time when I worked downtown, I would take the subway, and it was so nice because I didn't have to wait in traffic.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is abandoned. So. Subway terminal building.
Is it the Red Line, or no? It's like the actual terminal building.
The subway terminal building, yeah. Pack Electric subway terminal building. It used to go actually basically to where you are. Yeah, for people commuting into downtown. Anybody? Any Pack Electric fans out there? No? Pacific Electric?
Yeah. I'm more of a Pacific Bell guy, but I can do Pacific Electric too.
I would say MTA, but no one's actually a fan of them. But subway, East Coast Subway.
The subways in Boston are not worth mentioning.
No, I had fun adventures with that. Yeah, it wasn't even accessible too when I tried to get on one. That was fun.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
John Depker again with the $10 super chat. Thank you, John. They say, we thinking maglev technology like the Shinkansen in Japan? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Definitely not a bad call, but yeah, power is probably going to end up being a constraint there. But
Well,
hey,
I mean,
if you need to haul a whole bunch of solar panels out to a solar farm away from your hab, train
there
good.
you go. That's not a bad idea. I don't think we'll see anything like maglev. I mean, maybe it's possible. There are power consumption needs, but I mean, until like we get abundant power on the moon, like, I mean, maybe we put like a nuclear power plant up there or something.
Right.
Don't say it can't be done. It could be. I can see somebody going, no.
Arguably should be. I mean, I would rather see a small power station like a nuclear power plant on the moon versus blanketing the moon in solar panels. As somebody who has seen the deserts of the American Southwest over the last decade or so progressively blanketed in solar panels. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for renewable energy and I'm all for harnessing the sun for electricity however we can, but also I'm for not disturbing pristine habitats in the name of megalithic commercial power generation. But that's so far off the rails. Anyways,
Good luck
rails,
with the next
train.
one, Jack.
So you like coal power?
No, I don't.
You sure?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm sure. Coal bad.
It just ticked all the boxes that you just
No,
said.
no,
Saying.
no. Coal power is a megalithic. It's a commercial thing. Like if everybody had solar panels on their roof and generated power for themselves, we wouldn't need to blanket the entire frickin' desert and destroy habitats. But anyways, I'm gonna be real careful saying
Good
this
luck.
next one. Thank you. Bullet hole shooter, thank you so much for the $100 tip. That's an insane amount of money. Thank you. They say here's some
bullet
more.
hole's back? Yes.
Yeah, bullet hole is back.
That person's awesome.
Yeah, I'm taking extreme care every time I say their name.
Why?
They say here's some more. Thanks for the hours and hours of endless content. Thank you, bullet hole shooter. We appreciate you so much. Even though your name is
amazing.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is amazing. Although I'm gun shy. I'm a little bit gun shy. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, it's not like you've mispronounced it for anything. No, of course not.
Yeah, right. It's not like I said the most embarrassing thing I've said on stream, even counting that time I shouted at a guy whose parents I thought were dead and they weren't actually dead to like 30,000 people. It's not that.
I'm not even gonna ask.
It was like SN8 or something. The guy came up to me, a friend of the show, Ray. He's awesome. Anyways, Tom Dalton, thank you for the support. I think I killed EJ. No, that's a thing that happened. It's a thing. I can't take it back.
I mean,
yeah,
dude,
right.
I've been in content creation for a long time. You know, the one thing that you could be absolutely sure of is that you're gonna say something dumb eventually.
Right.
You know,
or
you
just
could be
all the time in the case of me.
You can be absolutely sure. So it's all about how you react to that. You know, you could be like, "Oh my god, it's kind of funny. Everybody knows you're just kidding. You didn't mean it. It's not like you wish death on this guy's parents. You know."
Right.
It's not like it's recorded
John,
for all eternity on the internet or anything. It's fine.
Right. It's not like you can go back to the SN8 live stream to exactly like 3 hours in and then. Yeah, anyways, John Depker, thank you again for the super chat. They say, could superconductivity be used instead of electromagnetism for propulsion? I know nothing about superconductivity and almost nothing about electromagnetism, so I'm going to stop talking and maybe EJ will say something smart sounding.
Sawyer, how's your electrical engineering? Yeah?
My degree's in broadcast journalism.
Okay, I got this one. All right, cool. Yep. All right, so... yeah, you know, you're moving. If we do have, I saw somebody in chat say, you know, LOX diesel locomotive, and I'm kind of here for that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like a nitrous diesel locomotive on the moon, that'd be kind of cool. You could take those carbon emissions and use it to grow plants. I'm just saying, carbon is not the devil. Carbon emissions aren't the devil on the moon. You could use that to. That's not actually a bad idea, right? If you just have a capture mechanism. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the train's going to end up being electric, right? And if it is, and you have overhead wires, if you have overhead candidaries in a locomotive with a pantograph on it, right? Yeah, dude, you could really go far with that, because you're essentially moving in a vacuum. Like you can get you because there's no atmosphere. You get good conductivity that way. Now, I don't know about superconductivity. Maybe it's possible. That's like, I don't know. Like, say somebody's walking around on the train tracks, right, in their spacesuit, just doing their space thing, and you know the current could arc through the lunar regolith that's just kind of floating around. So, I mean, there's trade-offs here, but yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, that might work. It might work. I mean, the lunar regolith is charged. We know that. Like, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, like, it's the same deal with like Mars, you know, like with Insight couldn't clean off its solar panels. You know, people are like, oh, why doesn't NASA just put a fan on it? Like, well, it's because the regolith is charged, and its static electricity is sticking it to the solar panels. You know, you need more than just like a compressed bit of air. Anyway, Jack, what were you saying?
No, a thought occurs. We were talking about maglev and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
There's less gravity on the moon. Does that mean it would take less power to levitate a maglev type vehicle on the moon, given that there's less gravity? Because that's one of the things we sort of touched on, like right off the bat, was, yeah, maglev would be cool, but we're probably power constrained. But then in my head, it was like, oh, but there's less gravity, so maybe less power needed? ? I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't know if you could tell.
Well, this is just basic physics, dude. I mean, you have 1/6 the gravitational acceleration that you would on Earth. So theoretically, it would take less power. But even then, it's still the same mass. You might need to. You could use less. You'd have less power, because that's what weight is. It's just gravity a force affected on mass, or gravitational force affected on mass. But at the same time, like, even then, the power consumption would be absurd. Like, this is something that not a lot of people kind of consider. Like, I don't think it's in the public lexicon about power consumption needs for spacecraft. Like, look at the ISS. I mean, you look at the amount of like places where humans can go versus the rest of the space station. Look at those gigantic solar arrays, and then even with the gigantic solar arrays, you have the rollout solar arrays that are in front of that. Power demands are still at a premium on the ISS. Even with the upgraded solar panels, even with how big those solar panels are, you know, we can generate power down here willy-nilly, but, you know, in space, everything is more difficult, even going to the bathroom, right? Like, if just that is like a difficult thing to do, you know, power generation can get, I mean, obviously there's solar, right? But, you know, what happens during the lunar night? You know, lunar nights are 14 days. Now what? Now where's your power coming from? This is what I mean about power consumption and demand, right? I mean, some people
nuclear power station on the moon.
I don't mind that idea. The only thing with a nuke is the heat. You'd need a closed loop cooling thing, and your radiators would need to be like the size of a football stadium. Your football or my football, either one.
Hear me out. Molten boron.
What'd you call me?
What is that? What does that do?
Nobody does it like molten boron.
Oh, jeez.
I thought you would get on board with the Futurama reference, EJ. You know what? I can't hit home runs all the time.
We could use dimondium.
Yeah, there you go. I think I lost it. Sean Bannon in chat was saying, wouldn't maglev draw in dust, same as with the static charge thing, which I hadn't considered, but yeah, that would also be highly suboptimal.
I mean, do we all want maglev trains on the moon? How cool would that actually be? That would be awesome, right? But
yes,
at the end of the day, there's a very good reason why most trains that operate down here have wheels.
Can we?
A wheel is a lot easier to do.
Should we do a moon train tier list? Like S tier moon train, maglev. A tier moon train, big boy steam engine using lunar water. I would say B tier cog moon train. F tier moon train would be like that doesn't have rails. It's just a convoy of cars.
Yeah.
Pulled by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
I don't
Australian
know. There's your
train, mate.
There's your moon train tier list.
F tier would be a robot just pulling it.
Yeah, there you go. Space mule pulling a space cart. Bullet hole shooter. gifting 50 Red Team memberships. Thank you, buddy. Extremely generous of you. And now 50 people that wouldn't have had the membership program otherwise now do. So be sure you thank Bullet Hole Shooter for their very generous contribution there.
Unbelievably generous. Thank you as always. We see your name often, and we really, really appreciate it.
Let me just say, it's a name. It's a name you don't forget. It's just not. It's not a forgettable name for whatever reason.
We see the name, but we don't say the name.
Telstar86, thank you for the support. They say,
name.
now boarding the 420 hyperlink train to the moon. Sign me up.
Mhm.
Daniel Hogbin, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. What?
I was going to say, some people are talking about like hyperloops. I mean, you'd have to pressurize the tube, but it's not. I'd prefer train moving around in the vacuum personally, but it's not a bad idea. It could work.
That's also what Jake does at 3 a.m. when he's buzzed. He just does hyperloops.
Why do cats do it in the morning? Like it's like 3 a.m. and the cat's like, I am going to haul butt around this entire house for 30 minutes. It's
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing? What's going on?
Call the Bondulins.
I'm not familiar with.
Is he trying to play us off? I don't know.
I'm not familiar with what this thing is. Bullet Hole
Jake.
Shooter.
Oh, since you can't you just use yakety sax, or is that a copyright
Probably.
thing?
That's
no. I think.
I don't think so.
Is yakety sax public domain yet?
Nope.
No,
apparently not.
Bullet Hole Shooter, thank you. $10 super chat. They say, I keep thinking of the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but on the moon. Bam. Let's write a spec script. Let's sell it to Hollywood. Planes, trains, rockets, and moon bases. I don't know. We'll workshop the name, but we'll get the ghost of John Candy, and we'll get Steve Martin, and the ghost of Chris Farley, and that one lady who was in Home Alone also, and we'll just do like a whole. It'll be great. I'm not good with actors and actresses' names. Can you tell?
Yeah.
No.
Is The Martian just planes, trains, and automobiles on Mars?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like there would have needed to be another character along with Mark Watney in order to annoy him the whole time. But I would be so here for that. I would be so here for that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm now thinking of Rocket Man.
That's
Harlan
what
Ellison.
I was just about to say. That's more Rocket Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara's who Jack was talking about.
There you go. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Matt PD, thank you for the support. They say Airy Fund. Also, LA Metro is decent. ISH. I mean, yeah, it's decent if you exist in an area around where the LA Metro is. Like, for example, this is so off the rails. I had to take a bus to the subway station. Like, there wasn't just a subway in my area, but also, mountains and fault lines and all the other fun California things. So I get it, but it could be a much more robust network. Like, when I go to New York, I'm like, wow, I can go anywhere I want without having to use a car because public transit is proper here.
Jack, I got a question. Do you think that? Sorry, Blake. Blake, we'll get back to that in a second. Do you think LA's highway system is good?
No.
Why not?
Why would I think that?
Well, because there's a fine line between a badly designed system and then an overpopulated system. I think LA's highway system is fine.
You've been playing too much Russian City Skylines.
Yeah. I mean, tell me the system is fine when you're on the 405 going south at rush hour.
I've driven on the 405. It's a great highway. It's a great design. It's just it was designed for half the population.
I mean, we could go down this rabbit hole for quite a while. I think we had good public transit in LA for a long time, and then there's the whole GM buying up all the different small rail line things, and then
that's what Pac Electric is, dude. Yeah,
scrapping them all, and then now they built a bunch of highways everywhere when we had a better solution, and now it's just not. Go watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, chat. Just go watch that.
Grid system for the win until you get to the village.
Yeah, right. Blake Alexander gifting 5 red team memberships. Thank you. And Zorg FX guy, thank you for the support. They say, is NSF planning to do something for the upcoming eclipse? Yes.
I don't know.
Stay
We'll
tuned.
see.
I may have spent an ungodly amount of money on a solar telescope. So stay tuned.
There may be a map in work of all trying to figure out where everyone's going to be to get as much coverage of the totality as possible. We can have totality coverage.
The dish. I don't know. I just wanted to say the dish. Cool. Well, that's Moon Train for you. Anybody else have anything else on Moon Train, or should we move on to Starship?
I think it's time to choo-choo on to the next station.
Train kept a rolling all night long.
I sang along
See?
with you there.
The heave and a hoe, and I just couldn't tell it. No. No? All right.
Where are you guys?
I sang along, dude. Come on.
Do you not know? Yeah, no. Sawyer's good. Jack, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? You don't know who sing that song? You don't know who sings it? Really?
Nope.
What? Oh,
Nope.
jeez.
It's time for me to be bad at a pop culture reference. It's about time.
Chat, tell him, please.
You're talking about the Aerosmith song, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like good music.
Dead to me.
Wow.
Welcome to NSF Live. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. We're joined this week by the Moon and Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, buddy?
Let me start with the poem. No, I'm kidding. Not that again. Yeah, Moon, it's been good seeing you lately. So, yeah, thanks for joining us.
Sir. I'm just here.
This baby can hold so much ice. Slaps Moon.
Hey, look, if we pan down from the moon, we see Starbase, which
Did you
might
just say
be a great
pan down?
tilt down.
Sawyer, you have a degree in broadcast journalism.
If we tilt down from the moon, you might happen to see Starbase, which I think leads us into our next topic. Okay, maybe I didn't tilt into my pan smooth transition, but let's roll on.
Oh.
I don't even know what to
Skycam.
say anymore. Really quickly, Bullet Hole Shooter again with a $100 super chat. Bullet Hole Shooter, I feel like at this point you're just trying to make me slip. Like
he's just looking for
AKA
acknowledgement.
Travis. We have an update to their name. I can just call them Travis now. Travis, thank you. We appreciate the support. It's an insane amount of support. It's a huge amount of money. Like, wow, thank you. There's no authentic way I can accurately express my appreciation other than saying thank you so much. We'll keep doing what we do thanks to your support.
You're welcome. Oh wait, no, sorry. It's got to be your bowl.
You can get a good look at a T-bone steak.
No, sorry, it's got to be your bowl.
Yeah.
You have derailed.
Oh man, I was just looking at the rotary girder. Blake
crazy.
Alexander.
Sorry.
Yeah. Blake Alexander, thanks for the super chat. They say, here's to a private company getting the Moon Train contract and not the Cal High-Speed Rail Authority. Dear God, yes. Dear God. Talk about. No, you know what? I'm just not gonna. We could spend a whole hour of me yelling about the California High-Speed Rail.
That's spicy.
We're gonna build the rail from Bakersfield to Lancaster and Palmdale. Who would care? Okay, anyways.
Well,
Starship, I think it was Wendover did a good video on that.
That was the whole point why I suggested the LA highway system, because the design has a lot to do with it too, right? Like that was why I brought this up and why I asked you that question, right? Because it all depends. And actually one of the people that tipped the stream said that, like, why do they need a moon train? Maybe do that when we have 2 moon bases, because the design of this is what it's doing is going to figure way into how the train is designed. And if it goes to nowhere, it could be, Jack, it could be a monorail.
Monorail.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It could be monorail. Simpson? No. Oh, jeez.
Monorail.
There you go. All right, good.
I've built monorails in Shelbyville, Ogdenville, and Brockway, and that surely put them on the map. I don't remember the exact line.
No, that was fine. That was good enough. Anyway, Sawyer wants Starship. Let's go.
I mean, to be fair, I think we all want Starship, but now I'm just sad that Phil Hartman is not with us anymore.
Respect.
What a legend.
I think we need to change our name to NTF, NASA Train fun.
Fan.
'Cause
Train
we had-
fan?
yeah, we've gone
we
a
could-
lot. There you go, fan.
We could
'Cause
talk
Bright
about
Line's-
trains.
Bright Line's going by me again, so.
Yeah, we could. Oh, we could talk trains. Chad, I could talk trains with you for like 8 hours. We could do that.
Pretty sure most people subscribe for space stuff.
Well, okay, all right, fine.
One of my favorite streams we've ever done was the arrival of the SRBs for Artemis 1 on the SRB train. Like,
I remember
train,
that.
Space, best friends.
Do not hump.
Doesn't get better than that.
Do not
hump the SRB train. It's not good to do.
I mean,
it says it right on there. Do not hump.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, another thing, we want to incorporate trains into space flight. How far back do we want to go? Like, the ITL Causeway, the Air Force used Alco S2 switcher locomotives to move Titan mobile launchers between Pad 40 and 41, and the SMARF and the VAB. Just saying. The crawler transporters, they have Alco 261C diesel V16 supercharged diesels in them. Those are absolutely locomotive engines. Just saying. Trains have a lot to do with space flight.
There are a lot of random abandoned rail tracks all across Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
That part makes me sad. I don't like that part.
Yeah, well, then why do you like the LA highways? Because there's lots of abandoned rail in LA as well. Does that make you sad?
No, the highways are a good design. It's just designed for half the population. That was the whole point of that.
But even if you designed them to be double the capacity, there's induced demand. Like the more lanes you add, the more cars there will be on the. There's never a solution. Just mass transit is the solution, but we're too dumb. We're just too dumb.
Nerds.
All right, so Starship.
Wait, what tweet do we have here?
Good old Chris Davenport, I don't know if I can call him that, but I'm doing it, with the Washington Post, tweeted out that at a panel at the satellite conference, Gwen Shotwell says that SpaceX should be ready to star flyship. What's my brain?
You okay?
Fly Starship again in about 6 weeks. Teams are still reviewing the data from the last flight, and that Flight 4 would not have satellites aboard. So there you go. A couple little nuggets of information there. Chris also tweeting that when added that the goal for Starship this year is to reach orbit, deploy satellites, and recover both stages. And of course, to launch Falcon 9 a whole bunch of times. So, wow. We spend so much time on our streams sort of trying to ask ourselves the hypotheticals. When do you think the first catch attempt will be? When do you think they will launch? Is this live? Because it looks like it's frozen. But it says it's live. But
That's
it's frozen.
a statue dedicated to the SpaceX workers that did the thing.
Space Iwo Jima, yeah.
Space Wojima.
Yeah, there you go. God. Star would. Anyways, so we ask ourselves these hypotheticals a lot. When do you think the first catch will be? When do you think they'll launch one with satellites on it? When do you think they'll actually do a real orbit? And so these little bits of information that we got are providing us with some answers, some welcome answers. So Flight 4, not going to have satellites. Goal for this year, which, as a reminder, SpaceX has previously asked the FAA to launch, what was it? 6 or 9? There's been a lot of numbers thrown around, but SpaceX wants to launch a bunch more times this year. So Flight 4, no satellites.
6. I think it was just 6 to 9 in general.
Nice.
Yes. All right.
See, EJ, I'm not always a disappointment.
Yeah, that's fine. It's
some welcome information, right?
Yeah. I just want to point out that during the last NSF Live, I said they'd be attempting to catch by the end of the year.
Called it.
Chad, I'll take that W. Thank you very much.
Although it doesn't necessarily say catch it. It says recover.
Yeah, I can see them doing a soft landing and then towing it into the port, something like that, assuming it floats, which, it's basically a big empty air tank at that point.
Chad said no. You're not going to give me my W.
Chad says no. I'll give you the W. You can have the W.
I mean, given the fact that one of the proposals was if it lands in one piece and it doesn't sink, it's to shoot it with bullets, then I think they think it can float.
I think Bullet Hole Shooter might have something to say about that.
But that name is not.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Right.
I can't get a W unless they do a water landing first.
Well,
I think they will. I think they will.
You said that they should have an L on the moon, and I consider that a W.
Oh.
By the way, while we're talking about the fact that SpaceX wants to actually recover it this year, which still blows my mind. The question of, are they going to be using the chopsticks? Are they going to go for the soft splashdown? I mean, the way that they have evolved with recovering these vehicles to pick up all their launch cadence, it blows my mind. In fact, we actually just put out a video this week talking about SpaceX's recovery efforts with Falcon 9 and all the drone ship landings and things like that. I think that's kind of a really great kind of co-video to the idea here of them actually finally testing that recovery of Starship now from either the water or trying the chopsticks and maybe some damage to some towers. But yeah, go check out that other video if you haven't on the channel.
Yeah, let's see if we can get mods to link that in chat. That would be rad, because it's a great video. So what flight are we thinking they actually attempt to catch? Clearly not on Flight 4, but I would believe that Flight 4 attempts a soft splashdown of the booster and ship. So maybe a catch by Flight 5, assuming they can nail down a soft splashdown? Because, again, we did not see a successful landing of the booster on the last flight. Something went awry, shall we say.
Something went awry. Yeah, we'll call it that. I mean, that's a good way to say that. It really depends on, what kind of data they're going to get from the next mission. Does that booster perform, a good, hover slam and splashdown, right? To Starship, make it all the way to the surface of the ocean, and do the most legendary belly flop of all time. Because SpaceX uses this iterative design, right? It's they're a little less risk adverse than you see with other aerospace companies. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that they send it. They're willing to send it more, because that's how you learn. You learn the most from there, And if Flight 4 basically does exactly what Flight 4 is supposed to do, I don't see why we wouldn't get a booster recovery sometime soon, right? But also at the same time, I don't think they would risk a pad with a catch attempt either. But in the same breath, you have the second tower segments are at Sanchez ready to be put together.
Right.
They're staging parts clearly, so the second tower is clearly in the pipeline somewhere. I don't think they would risk a catch until they do that. That means, how long did it take to make the first OLM? Like 8 months? So that kind of tracks. Well, 8 months does not track with the end of the year because this. Oh yeah, it kind of does. I was going to say this year's going by way too quickly, but it's okay. So yeah, that kind of all tracks towards trying to catch one by the end of the year with how SpaceX is moving equipment around.
And a good point that.
Go ahead, sir.
I'll say a good point that was brought up in the background by Ryan Weber here in our back channel.
Hi, Ryan.
Are these chopsticks even capable of catching currently? I mean, we've seen them hacking away pieces of it, if you recall, right before a flight. They were literally cutting parts off of it. Are they going to have to add certain things, change certain things for the actual recovery portion of it? So I think that might play a role too, and that might be something that we see get installed on that second tower. Some form of extra cladding, some extra connection point or something for that grab.
Well, so this is something we talk about also a lot because, it's one of the big upcoming milestones for the Starship program in terms of, EJ, would you be legitimately concerned about a catch gone wrong damaging the ground infrastructure in a significant way? I mean, it's essentially an empty tank at that point with very little propellant, although it is still an extremely massive, steel tube. So the weight of it falling would be bad, but I don't necessarily see like the massive explosion necessarily like tanking out the tank farm or something like that, unless they, score a direct hit like Rods from God style on the tank farm with the booster.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. If it was me and you had a RUD anywhere near your ground service equipment, I don't think it necessarily would damage much. I mean, it certainly wouldn't damage it any more than IFT1 did, right? Like, never say never, right? But at that point, dude, how do you know that all your systems are completely intact? Like, think about it. Think about it for a second. It's not going to take much. There could be one pipe that got hit by a piece of, piece of the rocket that exploded, and you guys all seen the NASA spaceflight van. You know what happens when rockets destroy and damage things. You're going to get ejected, just like what we were talking about on the moon. The van got a big piece of ejecta. All that has to do is hit a pipe in the wrong spot, and it might not be noticeable. You might notice it later. Like, that's the thing about these pads. I mean, Jack, we talked about it last week on NSF Live about the crazy amount of propellant transfer that they're working with here to fuel Starship. Starship gets fueled in less than an hour.
Yeah, it's like 1,000 tons every 10 minutes or something. It's insane.
It's frankly absurd. And having something exploding next to that in a way that's not a rocket launch, I would say go over all the GSE. Like, you don't want to play games with that stuff. I mean, just we're going to talk about Delta. We're going to talk about the L70 mission. Delta is a good example of why you don't play games with GSE. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Right? Also, why launching a lot is good, because then your pad never sits fallow for a long period of time, and then you put a rocket on it, and it's like, oh, let's scrub 6 times. Anyways.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't? You sure? Because I certainly do, from Vandenberg heavies.
Yeah.
But no, it to me, the forces from launch are so much more dramatic and intense that a booster coming back, like, personally, I don't see them waiting until they have a second tower to attempt catching. Like, I think the second tower and the second pad. What is with these lines on my? Oh my God, the sun is setting here. I look like some sort of solar zebra. I hate it. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
It's a total eclipse of the Jack.
Wow, Sawyer. I don't think they will wait till they have a second tower to do catches. Like, I think they'll attempt it well before the second tower and second pad is built, because that's still like a solid year away at least. And if they want to attempt that stuff before the end of the year, they're going to have to do it with the hardware that they currently have. So that's my take anyways.
But the main question that we were talking about here is, what flight do we think that they actually go for the orbit, the satellite deployment, and trying this catch? I think this might even be poll worthy, but where do we think how many flights in this year? Assuming there's at least 6 more this year, potentially 9. What flight number onward do you think?
Big assumption. I'm going to start off and say I think there will be a maximum of 3 more flights this year. Maybe that's on the low side, but that's what I'm going to go with. And I think once they get a successful soft splashdown of the booster, they'll immediately. Ian, you can't be DMing me stuff like this. We're live. Like, you can't do that. I can't be reading stuff like that live on air, buddy. I can.
Do we want to?
Somebody else. No, I will not. Somebody else talk. Go.
I got you. It really, like I said, it depends on how good these missions go. I mean, if we kind of extrapolate the rate of progress from Flight 1 to Flight 3, I would say it's going to happen sooner rather than later. First operational mission. I'll say Flight 6. Flight 5 or 6. Well, let's go 5. Heck with it. I'll be the optimist here, right? I'll be the optimist here. Flight 6. I mean, maybe, 5. Let's go with 5. I think Flight 4 is going to work. Flight 4 is basically the same exact from what I understand, it's the same exact trajectory, Indian Ocean belly flop as Flight 3. And once again, you're kind of extrapolating the rate of progress from like Flight 1, Flight 2 to Flight 3, and even taking into account like changing a crazy variable to your vehicle, like staging. You know, I'd say Flight 5. We'll go Flight 5, at least for some payloads, and I'm not sure about recovery. Maybe it might. Who knows?
I am inclined to agree.
This iterative design teaches you the most. You're going to learn the most. So you're going to with rapid iterative prototyping, you're going to see the most amount of changes between each flight. Elon said himself on X that there's thousands of changes to this vehicle. Flight 3, most likely from what they learned from Flight 2 and data from Flight 1. I mean, I don't know what data from Flight 1 would help you, but I mean, unless you want to do a barrel roll, do a barrel roll. Yeah.
Also,
right.
yes, do a barrel roll.
Do a flip. So, you know, I'd say the Starship is going to hit. I'm not going to say operational, but the rate of progress is going to be something that I don't think we're going to see coming. You know, it's going to happen a lot faster than you think. I mean, like I said, just look at how much further they've gotten every single flight.
Yeah, and it really makes sense to think that Flight 4 will be a full success. I think that's completely plausible. And if they get a successful soft splashdown of the booster, why not start trying catching at that point? So I think Flight 5 for a catch, and probably also for payload deploy. Flight 5, like, let's go, let's do this, let's knock this out. The booster has proven that it can do its job. Let's start using it to do so. Sawyer, you have thoughts, I know. Go.
I do, yes. Many of them I can't say on air. But in terms of this, no, my feeling is that, you know, Flight 4, get the flight profile down. You know, maybe this be the final suborbital. Flight 5, you go orbital. At that point, you know, hopefully with Flight 4, you get that soft splashdown. Then for the 5th flight, you get orbit, and maybe you try for the soft splashdown there of Starship, of the ship portion of it itself. And then you get to Flight 6, that's when you load in the satellites, and that's when you focus in on, all right, we've got the orbit down, we've got the soft splashdowns down, now let's try for recovery. So I would say Flight 6.
Yeah.
All right. Plausible.
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere in there. I mean, a storm is brewing, a Starship storm, and I don't think people are ready for it. I mean, guys, SpaceX is already with rapid iterative prototyping. They're hitting a launch with Starship like every 3 to 4 months already, and you know, we were saying 6 to 9 flights. Jack, I mean, you might be right that it might be 3 more for the year, but like I said, the rate of iteration here, as you fly more, you're going to learn more, and you will progress a lot faster.
Absolutely. And to be clear, I'm not trying to be like Donnie Downer over here. Like, 3 more flights for this rocket before the end of the year would be insane. Like, yes, 6 would be insane, 9 would be insane, but I mean, we're going to talk about Delta Heavy here in a minute. Delta 4 Heavy flew what was it, like 15 times in 10 years, 20 years? Yeah, 15 times in 20 years. I think the first flight was in 2004. So for the brand new, largely untested, you know, crazy new technology on the cutting edge system that is Starship, to fly 3 times more in what is essentially its inaugural year of flight. Well, I guess we're about there, coming up on April. But either way, you get the point. Even 3 more times this year would be madness and amazing, and SpaceX would learn a whole bunch. So don't get me wrong. But I think you're right, EJ. The more that they fly, the more they'll learn, and it's just a feedback loop. That's how SpaceX rolls. Like, that's how it works. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and ironically with this, just really quick to point out, normally we get these as, you know, Elon time. Elon tweeting out of, oh, we're 2 weeks away, which we know means like 2 months away. This is Gwyn time, which still means we're probably closer to like 8 weeks away. But I mean, I trust her numbers a little bit more.
Nothing in space flight happens when you think it's going to happen. Take when you think it's going to happen, times that by pi. That's actually when it's going to happen. It's not just Elon. That's the entire industry. Like,
Not
just
wrong.
look at just the time it takes to get stuff going.
I mean,
You know,
yeah, and there are just physical limitations in play still while SpaceX is still learning. Like just the other day, we saw SpaceX pulling the flex hoses off of the booster QD because they got absolutely roasted by launch. Like if you're trying to launch once every couple of weeks or once every week or whatever, you can't be having to refurb major parts of your pad like that, which surely as they launch more and as they iterate, they will get to a point where that is not necessary, but we're not there yet, although it does feel like we're rapidly approaching that territory.
yeah, it's going to happen a lot faster than people think. It's like how Falcon 9 turned into this once a month launch vehicle to like once a day launch vehicle, seemingly like overnight. It just
right.
You're building. SpaceX have the institutional knowledge, they have the industrial base, and they have the tools and the talent. Don't stare in the trap. I think they'll get it. I think it'll happen a lot faster than it feels.
Yeah. That said, I think a ship catch, like the statement from Gwen was like recovering both vehicles. A ship catch to me still feels pretty far out. Like I'm going to say 2025 for a ship catch. Booster catch, completely plausible to me that they try this year. Whether or not they succeed, plausible that they try this year. Ship, that's a whole different ball of worm games.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Jack, there was actually a super chat in there, and somebody asked about like landing legs, or why don't they just use Falcon 9? Can you pull that thing up? Is that possible?
Yes.
Because that was a good question.
Was it a super?
I'm not sure if it was a super. It was a tip in chat. I don't know what that's called on YouTube. Sorry, I'm from the Twitch world, guys. My bad.
It might have been a resub.
Yeah.
You're good. I'm looking.
Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially, it's like
the one about piggybacking off of Falcon 9's infrastructure with landing legs.
Yeah.
Theo with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Theo. They say, why don't they piggyback off of the Falcon 9 infrastructure and go with landing legs and drone ship? Is it a scaling problem? Homework is done. Yet, I think that's a scaling problem. The booster is so huge that adding legs that are suitable for it, it's very easily to add a lot of mass to the booster very quickly. But EJ, go ahead.
That booster's, what do we think the booster dry mass is? Alex, back channel me. I know you know this. It's that I don't know. I'm not sure you can get a landing leg to hold that thing up. And even then, the load that would be exerted on 4 landing legs is the dry mass is 200 plus tons. Number Alex says a lot. Okay, cool. I mean, Falcon 9 empty is not even close. Not even close. There's what would Falcon 9 empty be? 20 tons, maybe. Where volume has a lot to do with it, coming back more on, like he said, moron. Nice. Coming back more on nice. To Starship, Jack. I think guys. I think that catching the booster is more what SpaceX's focus is. Starship, maybe they'll go back to those like flip out legs or something, or maybe they'll just put some type of landing, like passive landing thing on the side of Starship. But I think that them getting the booster is much more like in the like things that you need to solve quick, because once again, Artemis is on the horizon. We're looking at a lunar landing. 18 months.
Right.
You need to launch a lot, and SpaceX could theoretically get HLS out to the moon with expendable starships, right? You could do that, and you could use that as an excuse to, after a starship is refueled, you get landing data on entry, descent, and landing, like how they used customer missions to land first stages, right? But super heavy is the real thing here. That's the real big deal. I firmly believe that, that is in the critical pathway to getting HLS up there. Without super heavy, oh great, Starship can land. That's fine. Lovely. Good. How does that get one of those things to the moon? Super heavy is the real key here. And
Yes.
I think that, after the HLS contract was awarded, SpaceX really pivoted away from doing tests like SN15, which is a shame because that was amazing, right?
Oh, I miss those so much.
Yeah, dude, they're so good, right? Yeah, they pivoted away and they focused much more on first stage 0 and getting super heavy. Like they went all hands onto super heavy, and Elon had that whole thing about, Raptor production, making sure we get our assembly line for Raptors producing X amount of units a day, or else we could bankrupt could be a theoretical possibility. Like everything,
I remember that.
Right? Everything that they've done since HLS has been awarded has been pivoting towards getting stage 0 and super heavy working. I think that's much more in the critical pathway than a Starship landing. So how is this pertinent? I think that putting legs on super heavy, one, it's heavy. It's in the name. Yeah, I don't think you can make any type of landing leg that wouldn't completely destroy your mass fraction on that thing work. Jack, that's what you were saying. Second of all, if Starship EDL and landing is not, that's not in the critical path for Artemis missions, right? It's not. You're refueling HLS up on orbit, and I don't, what does NASA care what they do with that after? Just like first stages with Falcon 9 when they were testing. So I think we'd be much more likely to see some landing legs attached to Starship or something than we would.
I do miss the little nubby legs that would flop
flip
out.
out. Yeah, the little flip out nubbins
adorable.
with the crush course.
And it's funny
right?
because we say little flip out nubbins, but they are actually person size, insanely heavy person sized things, because Starship is just. Kevin, can we change the view? I feel like I'm covered in bees. This is taking me back to when I was a beekeeper and I got attacked by an Africanized hive. Can we not? Thank you.
Not the bees.
You were a beekeeper?
For a very brief period of time, yes. Back before I went to film school, when I was finding odd jobs on Craigslist. That is a fun era of my life.
I can see that. I don't know why. I don't. Yeah. I can see that. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
Not gonna lie, if I had space and time, I would absolutely
you would
keep bees. It's a really fun hobby, and it's just good to help the bees. Bees good. Bees good. Mosquitoes bad.
So we need
Don't
an
hit me with the tool
fund.
for the job speech.
Apiary fund
NSF
now for
honey.
Jack. Yeah.
So to your point, EJ, I do think that makes a lot of sense. You can chuck a tanker Starship here and there, and it's not the worst, end of the world. But chucking 33 Raptors every time you lose a booster is no bueno. So,
right? Yeah. Would you rather lose 33 or 6? Right?
Potentially 9 in the future as well, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, potentially 9. Still not 33. I think that. Yeah, it's something that I mentioned from last week as well. I think we kind of, we saw those crazy views from Starship re-entering, and that was awesome. Don't get me wrong, that was great. But I think that the true big thing here is that SpaceX had 2 flights back to back where super heavy on its ascent, big asterisk there, on its ascent performed great. It performed perfectly. They sequenced 33 engines, got 33 engines running, no flameouts, all the way to most engine cutoff, right? And then everything after that is playing with house money, which is nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Also bacon. I see Chad talking about bacon. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Chad is fixating on bacon and bees. Space bees, to be specific. Have bees been into space yet? Because they should have.
Yes.
They should send bees to space.
Shuttle mission. Yep.
Yes, they have.
Do they still make hexagonal hives?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a weird blob?
No. Sawyer, it was a shuttle mission, right?
It was a shuttle mission,
STS-41.
I believe it took them some time, but they ended up actually just adapting and creating it still.
Yeah, same with mouses. Mouses learned to fly around in 0G. That was actually a more recent ISS test.
Of which there were a few of them just launched on CRS-30, by the way. We have more mouse.
Yeah,
Yay.
Moustronauts.
Yay, Moustronauts.
Yep. Yeah, that was a student experiment on.
He couldn't catch.
What's up? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Someday, Jake. I feel like a cat in 0G is going to the first time we get some proper cat in 0G content, the internet is going to break. Especially cat zoomies in 0G is just going to be complete chaos, and I'm so here for it.
There are great videos of people that will, go in a Cessna and do the sort of 0G style parabola and you just see the cat in the background going crazy. It's an old classic video.
Mm-hmm.
It's hysterical. You up for it, Jake? He says yes.
I think he'd get down on that.
Stabby Unicorn, thank you for the $50 tip to tips.nasaspaceflight. I got bugs all over me, man. What is with this view?
Dot says keep that view up because he needs everybody to know the horror that he has to work in.
That's true. I mean, that is the name of the game. Ooh, McGregor. We're getting an engine firing right now. A Raptor firing out at McGregor.
Hopefully this one doesn't croak, right?
Right.
I heard one croak today.
Yeah, earlier this morning there was a RUD on the tripod stand.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's why we test.
Right?
That's why we have McGregor live. So make sure you keep McGregor live in your NSF live stream rotation.
And that is, by the way, in the path of totality.
That's I think that's where I'm going to end up for the Eclipse. I think I'm going to go to McGregor, hang out with our McGregor crew, and hope to see some Raptor firings while I'm there. Stabby Unicorn, $50 tip. Thank you. They say a reminder that Buffalo is a valid sentence, which it is. I would like to. There's also a German version that's like Rhabarbara, something like that. There's a bunch of these. There's also a French one.
It's like something like that.
Well, there's also mirror. Anyways, yes, language. It's fun. What is it? Thank you, Stabby Unicorn, for that insanity. Travis, aka Bullet Hole Shooter, thank you for another $100 tip. That's insane.
You're the man, Travis. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
They say you need to slip once in a while. I recently passed through Mojave and got to see Stratolauncher outside the hangar. That was a sight to see. I'm glad you got to see that. Rock is an amazing aircraft. It holds a special place in my heart. They just conducted their first successful powered flight. So mad props to the entire Stratolaunch team. Y'all are the best.
Yeah, Talon with the TA-1. That was amazing.
Right. I am so here for Stratolaunch, for hypersonic research to be, less of an unattainable thing. And also, I think at some point they're going to be landing Talons at Vandenberg, which I am also 100% here for. More Vandenberg, more better. And Sawyer's going to be like, "Oh, but you're not going to be able to see it because of the fog." And I'm going to say, "Shut up, Sawyer."
Oh, you're not going to be able to see it because of the fog.
Shut up, Sawyer.
I mean, I just want to point out here, gentlemen, that we had a hypersonic reentry system with really nice cross-range capability in the 70s.
Dinosaur? You're talking about Dinosaur, right?
Shenanigans? You're talking about Shenanigans, right?
I swear, if one more person says Shenanigans, I will pistol whip them. Hey, Farver, what's that place you like to eat with all the crap on the walls?
You mean Shenanigans?
Sticky.
Oh.
Not on the keyboard. Not on the keyboard. Not on the keyboard.
Casey, thank you for the store purchase. They say, love the live stream. Do you think they will land Starship on a pad or be caught by the chopsticks first? I assume chopsticks, but never say never.
Was that for Starship or Super Heavy?
Starship, specifically. Ooh, and they got a print.
Hey, all right. Print it. I mean, it's like we were saying before. I think we would be more inclined to see something like a S-15 landing, right? Than we would from like landing on a pad or something, than we would a catch with Starship. However, I'm not going to say I don't want to see Starship get caught by the chopsticks. Like, I think we all want to see that. That'd probably be one of the wildest things ever.
Yes, please.
That's pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Very yes, please.
Yep.
I will second the yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Wes Irvin with a $99 super chat. Thank you so much, Wes. That's outstanding of you. They say Hamon Iberico is right up there with bacon. And I do have confirmation from our back channel, specifically Alex, that it is delicious. So
forget the back channel. Hamon Iberico is, it's it's kind of like a cured bacon-y type bit. It's like a mix between bacon and prosciutto in a way. It's just nice. It's got the perfect amount of fat ratio to it. Dude, it's pricey but worth it.
Is it like the gabagool?
The gabagool.
It puts the
Is it like
gabagool to shame.
Nobody puts gabagool in the corner, Sawyer.
Say hello
Lynette.
to my little friend.
Wow. Lynette, you'd never cease to surprise me, Sawyer. Thank you for becoming a Red Team member, Lynette.
That's
Wes
my job.
Irvin with another super chat. They say, how awesome will that Jack suntan be? Oh, because I had the sun on my face. Thankfully, it's gone now. Just me, thank you for the support. They say, thoughts that they might just do some small hops to test chopsticks for landing. Nope. I mean, as cool as that would be, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Every time you launch in super heavy, it's, you're risking the pad. You're risking the pad in some way, right? So if you're gonna sequence 33 engines, get 33 engines firing, and get that thing off the pad, you might as well do it with a Starship on the top. It's not that much more of a stretch to put payload up there and have it fly an ascent trajectory and then come back down and land, rather than doing a Grasshopper or an F9R Dev 1. Well, Dev 1 never flew, or Dev 2. Dev 2 flew. It landed, but in pieces. But it fly. But I think SpaceX has I think they have enough experience with propulsive landings. It's really, I don't think we need to see something go up and come back down. I think all the data that they're going to get from doing the splashdown style landings, like what we want, like we didn't see it during IFT3. We saw something. I don't know if that would be called a landing, but
there did appear to be a splash of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, something hit the water. Something. It was. I don't know if it was a booster, but
right.
Maybe pieces of the booster. Something hit the water. Does that help? But
probably many things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's. Yeah, I think that if they're gonna launch it, they're gonna launch a whole thing. You might as well. You need a lot of data on ascent. There's a lot of missions in the critical path. Like, it's what I was talking about before. There's a lot of missions in the critical pathway. SpaceX's eyes on the prize is on HLS right now. I mean, I'm pretty dang sure. That's no insider information. I'm not cool enough to get that. So I just kind of have to turn the gears. It's like there's a bunch of mouses with hamster wheels up here. We turn the gears. So the HLS that's what they're going for. Everything has been moving towards that, getting that thing ready to go. So you got to think about, like, what is the simplest way with the hardware that they have to get HLS into rectilinear halo orbit and down to the surface of the moon. What's the quickest way it gets to rendezvous with that Orion capsule? What do you absolutely need? What do you not absolutely need? Like the tiles, for instance. We saw the tiles on previous starships. They were a little jank. I mean, they were better on this last one. They were better on 28, right? But, that's not like in the critical path. Like, having a Starship come back down is not that big of a deal when you have SpaceX's production base. They're cranking out Starships and Raptors left and right, which is, once again, like, there's a future where, they don't get full reuse working by the time HLS rolls around, and they just refuel with expendable Starships, which I don't think I want that future, but it's feasible. That would still be a way to deliver on the contract and get it done.
What he said.
Yeah. Nothing to add.
Sorry, I'm a chatterbox today. My bad. I like trains.
That's why we love you. JC Davis, thank you for the super chat. They say, planning on going to Starbase to see the first booster landing. See y'all there. Come on by and say hi and grab a patch and a sticker. Tom Dalton, thank you for the support.
To say, too?
Yes.
Cape just has patches. Yeah. Come on, we're slacking here.
Well, we gotta change it up. If you find Das, you'll get a patch, probably also a sticker. If you find me, you'll get a sticker, maybe also a patch. You never know. That's why you gotta come on down to Starbase and find us while we're frantically working to keep things running ahead of the next flight. Tom Dalton, thank you for the support. They say, if Flight 4 is complete, is a complete success, then at least one more before they try to catch have to duplicate success to prove it's not a fluke. Yeah, that's a fair,
Yep.
a fair assessment of how things may go. El Mad, thank you for the super chat. They say instead of legs on the booster, how about a landing platform on the ground? Hear me out. All right, hear me out. How about the launch tower also has like big arm kind of things, maybe like a you call them like chopsticks, and the booster lands like in between them, and the tower catches the booster, and then it puts it on a platform.
No, yeah,
Does that sound completely insane?
Those arms look good, they're made with consummate V's if you look at the camera. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
That'll never work. I don't think anyone would even consider trying something like that. Could you imagine how ridiculous that would look to have these two arms just like sticking out, waiting to and then closing in? Crazy talk.
Right.
Mechazilla, his arms wide.
Shaka the wall, or Elon the walls fell? I don't know. Timba and oh god, I don't remember it's such a good episode of Star Trek.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, Jack.
Darmok and Jalad on the ocean. Yes, thank you. Timba, his arms wide. Bullet hole shear.
Thanks, Travis.
They say, I visited the Thing Museum in Benson, Arizona, where they talk about world history when aliens versus dinosaurs happened. What are the chances history will repeat itself?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
But it was aliens. Cool. All right. Well, let's take a moment to appreciate the awesome offerings that we have in our lovely merch store. We've seen some people picking some things up here and there on today's show. Hey, look, it's a Polaris flyover metal print shot by myself. Pick it up if you are so inclined. I would be very honored if anybody enjoyed this image enough to have it on their wall. But if you don't, guess what? There's a whole bunch of other stuff in the store from Flight 3, including patch t-shirts, mugs, and a whole bunch of other prints from other folks on the team. So run on over to shop.nssspaceflight.com. Yet another way you can support what we do and get a little something in return. Re-entry Club. I love this. I love it. I love it.
Is that a country club?
I could be. And you don't have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops to get membership. You just have to get into orbit and then re-enter.
Well, above all of the known space lines, at least.
There you go. The McDowell line at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the re-entry club this morning? What? Sorry.
Don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
JC, I don't. I'm sorry. You know what, EJ? I'm not going to get all the references. Normally, I'm the one giving people crud for not getting the pop culture references, but whenever we're doing NSF Live, there's like a role reversal thing, and you know what? I'm here for it. I deserve it. Bugs all over me.
Okay.
JC Davis, thank you for the support. They say, doesn't Starship need permission to fly over the western U.S. to land? Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, the shuttle did it. That's fine. We'll figure it out.
Shuttle flew across pretty much the entire southeastern part of the country. He got back to Kennedy, even.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Shuttle. Yep. Oh, yeah, there it is. Like clockwork.
Ding, there's Chris B.
Yep.
You know, if you look in the mirror and say shuttle 3 times fast, Chris B will appear. It
Chris B appears and says dirty leads and then goes away. That's all he does. All right, so let's move on to our next topic, which is not really a fun one. We don't have to spend a bunch of time on it if we don't want to, but NASA budget not increased, which is not cool because it's probably going to lead to the shuttering of the Chandra X-ray telescope, which is one of NASA's great observatories. I don't know how to sugarcoat this. It stinks. I hate it. And I'm mad about it. And it's not only just Chandra, it's also funding for Artemis. I mean, you look at what happened with the space shuttle, and for so long that program was pushing a bow wave where they got the bare minimum amount of funding necessary, and they kept pushing things off. They cut the number of orbiters they could fly. They cut things that were initially planned that were then never done, and we're just doing the same stupid budgetary dance all over again. Artemis 5 has been delayed until March of 2030, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, speaking of history repeating itself, it's just annoying that we're asking NASA to do so much more with essentially less, because they're getting a flat, there's no increase to the budget. So it's just, do all of this, go back to the moon, build the gateway, and also, operate the ISS and spend a whole cartload of money on SLS. And oh, by the way, we're not giving you any more money to do it. It's just, I don't know. That's all I have for the budget thing. If anybody wants to rant about it, be my guest, because I'm not happy about it. But I will also say I'm not surprised, unfortunately.
I mean, in terms of the budgetary numbers, it's not like it's really down, it's up, but it's still the same that we had for 2023. It's really stagnant in a way. And it really hurts that you're taking all these science observatories and deciding, all right, these are the things that need to go. I know it's a balance. Artemis, that's the big ticket item for them. That's the thing that people know about, they see about, they hear about, they want the astronauts. So human spaceflight tends to get a lot of the money, if not all of the money, that they ask for. Where are you going to take it from? A lot of that comes from Earth-observing satellites that help us every day. Solar-observing satellites, which obviously solar winds and solar weather, extremely important. And then you get other ones like Chandra that, yeah, I mean, it's basically its own version of Hubble with the amazing discoveries that it's done. The difference is Hubble had James Webb to kind of be its successor, even though they're not one-to-one. Right. Chandra doesn't have that. There is no real replacement for what it's doing even considered right now in the works. So imagine trying to build that, then you're talking like a decade. So it hurts.
It really does. I mean, I'll put it this way. What is the NASA budget request? It was like $27 billion, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Which
I think it was
sounds
24.
Sounds like a lot.
I think
24. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot. Like but okay, let's look at something else that the government has spent money on. The Comanche. EJ, you remember the Comanche helicopter?
Dude,
we spent like $40 billion trying to make a stealth helicopter. I'm sorry. Do you know anything about helicopters? They're loud. Yes, there's things you can do to limit their radar return, but like stealth and helicopter are two things that do not go together. And we roasted $40 billion on this insanity. And that's not the only time that we've attempted to make some sort of next generation helicopter and roasted tens of billions of dollars on it. And yet NASA is like, can we have 20 billion? And the government's like, no. It's just, it's so frustrating. EJ, I can't even talk. I'm so mad. Please say something intelligent.
I mean, Comanche was cool.
It was cool, but yeah, like everybody's like, oh, why are we wasting money on space? We should be fixing problems on Earth first. And it's like, you know what? We can do both. And also, we have plenty of money to do it. It's just there's no political will to do it because we're stupid and disappointing.
Less than half the 1% of the entire federal budget ends up going to NASA.
Isn't it half a percentage?
I thought it was less than...
No, not even one, Sawyer.
Right, I said less than half of 1%.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the mic cut out. Sorry about that.
Sorry, less than half of 1% of the entire federal budget goes to NASA. And the return that we get, I know people always say, why are we going to space when there's problems on Earth and things like that? The latest numbers when it comes to NASA spin-offs is that for every dollar that we spend on things going into space, we get approximately $7 back in terms of products, research, advancements, things that help us back here on Earth. That's why I fight so passionately for it, and why I'm sure Jack and you guys all are angry when you see people saying, oh, we don't need to go to space. Oh, their budget should be slashed even more. Because what are we giving them?
Oh, it's
10,
just billionaires that want to
15%?
leave Earth. There's so it's just it makes me so mad.
Yeah. You know what? I want you to get up right now. I want you to go to your windows. I want you to stick your head out and shout, I'm mad as heck and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Nice.
I'm mad as heck and I'm
It's appropriate in this spot.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm with you guys on that. You know, like Jack, I'm not. You're not wrong. Well, he's gone. I was gonna say.
The neighbors here are like, what just happened?
Did you do it? All right, sweet, nice. Okay, wasn't expecting that. I don't know, fellas. There's really no way to explain this like short story, right? Like, there's no way to really do that. I mean, are these budget numbers not ideal? Yeah, they're pretty bad. You know, you guys are saying it's flat budgeted, right? Like, that's bad. That's not flat budgeting because of inflation. That's actually defunding it because the value of the dollar is different than it was, right? So, you know, if NASA's budget going into 2020 was 24 billion and it's still 24 billion now, that's defunding. That's not the same amount of cash here. That's why we're seeing this. That's why we're seeing the, you know, cut to these programs, you know. And I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think that people that say, you know, oh, we should be fixing problems down here. I always, you know, I understand where they're coming from. But what I try to do, sorry, like you were saying, you vehemently push for it, like the science budget includes Earth's observation. It includes imaging satellites. It includes meteorological satellites. Those are part of NASA's budget, and those are helping observe the climate from space. That helps us fix problems down here. And I'm not talking like, you know, oh, well, the climate is changing, we got to climb it. No. I'm talking about a satellite that's going to see where a storm is coming, so you can evacuate people. So you arguably these satellites fix a lot of problems. You can track a storm a lot better with the GOES satellites than you can by just going outside and putting your finger up, or even a Doppler radar, right? These technologies, and you know, so much of NASA's science budget does help and fix problems down here. Now, simultaneously, you know, the human space flight element of it, you know, ISS, the scientific research that goes up there, they're looking for technologies to help us live on the moon. Like, you know, we're trying to, you want to solve climate change problems, basically living on the moon. If you can sustain yourself on the moon, well, there's no excuse for the technologies invented not being able to sustain yourself down here on Earth. Those technologies, Sawyer, as you said, $7 for every dollar spent. Those technologies help us do that, and not for a lot of money. Now, they help us do that not for that much. It's less than a penny on the dollar for every tax dollar. Now, Jack, I mean, you brought up the Comanche helicopter, right? The Comanche's cool. I think that thing was sweet. That thing was really cool. For what it's worth, I think a stealth helicopter is doable. You know, you could potentially get shock off the end of the rotors that would screw a radar signature, but that's why it had that little bend at the end of the rotors on the
little
Comanche.
Scimitar thing. Yeah, I get it.
I'm not
saying it's impossible to do, just for the record. I'm not saying we shouldn't have a stealth helicopter. I just think it's a decent illustration of things we are willing to spend a lot of money on that might sound a little bit ridiculous on its surface versus, I don't know, funding science at NASA.
Well, for real. Absolutely. I mean, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing that, I don't know, you guys noodle on this. I always kind of turn this around in my head. You know, defense spending is not necessarily bad for NASA. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, I wish NASA had the defense budgets. I think that's gross overfunding. I don't think spaceflight is that expensive. You know, you're not gonna get $100 to go to the store to buy a gallon of milk, right? You change 100, people will be like, okay, right? You know, but defense spending does bolster our aerospace industrial base, right? So that ends up being good for your institutional knowledge and your industry base on the ground here, and that can be leveraged for NASA. Look at how many military technologies in the past found their way to NASA. Atlas, just saying. How many probes to other planets has an Atlas V launched? You know, March 2020 off the top of my head, like there's a plethora more.
I don't know if you count it as a probe, but InSight as well.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I would argue that defense spending helps NASA. Like, even if you go back to projects from the 80s, the Strategic Defense Initiative, you know, and then, you know, even Star Wars, if you go, you know, which is, I mean, that's kind of the same thing, but these projects do help. Now, you know, going back to the whole thing, like, you know, you could sit here and it sucks. Like, you know, I know you guys, you know, and we know who we're talking to here. It should be NASA's budget should be double what it is right now. Like, there's no excuse for not having a moon base right now. Like, why can't I take a vacation to the moon right now? This is ridiculous, right? I could definitely see that, but you know, I mean, that it's true, but I think it's like, it's difficult to sit here and just be like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Like, you know, so instead of sitting here and like Jack, it drives you up the wall. And I know if I just sit there and think about it for a second, it'll drive me up the wall too. So, you know, I think coming up with a solution in this regard would probably be more productive, right? So here it goes, right? You know, there's the budget for NASA, and there's these cuts to the science programs, you know, and we always talk about sustainable programs. NASA loves that word. They love sustainable. They make it sustainable. And it's interesting because that ends up being like comparing these scientific missions through their operational phase of systems engineering to, you know, like you have exploration systems development, and they seem to always be at odds with each other. Funding for human exploration operations, funding for exploration ground systems, right? Funding for the Science Mission Directorate. They always seem to be at each other. You know, there's ways to fix this. There's ways to make this a lot more robust in terms of funding. Now, it seems like NASA has been able to do that somehow with SLS. And I'm going to get grilled for saying this, but anybody trying to get rid of that thing, that's not happening. It's not happening. Like, I've seen many people over the last decade that are like, cancel it, Starship, cancel it, it's too expensive. Like, I would argue that, you know, you see total cost involved with NASA. So they always have to show you the entire bill, and it's always going to seem more expensive than what you see in the private market, for instance, right? But, you know, that seems to be very sustainable. So, like, it's obviously not going anywhere, right? It's to hedge long-term goals. Because, well, on a side note, it's to hedge NASA's long-term goals for human spaceflight operations, because they tried to pull the plug on it in 2011. They tried to pull the plug on the thing, like everything. You know that $30 billion that they said they saved when they canceled Constellation. Well, you know, NASA's, what are we into the hole now? Like $45 billion since Constellation got canceled or something, right?
Right.
You know, that certainly seems a lot cheaper now, but. You know, I think finding ways to get these programs to depend on each other is what NASA needs to do to prevent this kind of things from happening. Like, we have science missions that are going up against, you know, human exploration operations. And then you see the science people yell at, oh, it's us or them. It's us or them. No, I think we should dude, chat for real. Speaking of funding. Oh, thank you, Mr. Space Pope. I love your hat. Thank you very much. And then Blake right there with 5 before that message retracted. I don't know what you said, but
Yeah.
Damn.
Jack, he's taking your job.
Sorry.
No, by all means. Seriously, thank you, Space Pope.
Yeah. I love your hat. So.
Space Pope. Does that mean there's a Space Pope mobile?
Dude, yeah. It's called the Space Shuttle.
Nice.
Nice.
Seriously, thank you, Space Pope.
So,
yeah,
okay.
that was extremely generous. Really,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. That's just all of the support is appreciated. I want to make that very clear. We do genuinely appreciate everything from $1 to something as generous as this, and it doesn't go to waste. It somehow funds us talking about these crazy things off the rails here, and allows us to have cameras to show it to you as well out in the field.
So,
Indeed.
yeah, sorry, guys. I'm going somewhere with this. So instead of having these programs kind of at each other's throats, you want to make something sustainable. You work them together. Like you work them together. You try to find ways to work this stuff together. So, and you can leverage the commercial market to do that. So how about, NASA works on climate and Earth observation satellites where service operability is a big thing. It's part of the thing that sustained the space shuttle gave the space shuttle something to do was service the Hubble Space Telescope, right? Why don't we leverage commercial partners to make upgradable Earth observation and meteorological satellites? So instead of making a new satellite and launching it on an expendable rocket or even a partially reusable rocket, make satellite constellations where you could perform servicing on these things and upgrade them. Modular satellite buses. That type of program would leverage the Science Mission Directorate and Human Exploration Operations and Exploration Ground Systems. You could rope all this stuff together into one big program. And then, the Defense Department, like I said, they always want to get in on it. Part of the reason why we got the space shuttle is because defense spending, right? Heck, one could make the argument that part of the reason why we got the Saturn, even the entire Saturn family of rockets is because of defense spending, because they're derived from the Redstone missile, which is an aggregate 4, which was an Army Ballistic Missile Agency program. So that's defense spending right there. Once again, this stuff's all intertwined. We could figure out a way to get everybody to work on it, like kind of totally intertwined architecture. You're going to create the sustainability, and the more congressmen that you get in, or congressmen or representatives, that you get in your district here with this whole integrated program, the less likely it is to get defunded like this. I don't think space is any type of partisan issue. It's very much about people wanting to keep constituents, or politicians wanting to keep constituents employed in their district, because that's actually their job to do that. That's the system actually working for a change. That's pretty cool. I don't hate that.
Working in air quotes. Working.
I said for a change, right?
Yeah.
I said for a change. Okay. So, I could sit here and I could blow hard all day about how this pisses me off, because it does. Oh, it absolutely does. It hurts. It sucks. Especially as a space flight, we do outreach, Sawyer, Jack, Das, if you're in the back channel, Chris, you guys all know, and in chat, everybody here, what we do. We're here firing on all cylinders, 24/7, 365, trying to get people into space, because public perception of spaceflight and it being seen as a vital thing is so important to NASA's funding. And you could say, oh, well, SpaceX could do it without them, but NASA contracts are what put SpaceX in the position that they're in nowadays. They wouldn't. Yep. Would SpaceX have been inevitable? I think so. I think Elon just has that guy, just betting against him when it comes to getting any type of industrial project done is probably not a good idea at this point, right? Industrial project, right? Like he's got tenacity, man. The guy doesn't quit, right? SpaceX eventually would have gotten to this point, but they wouldn't have gotten to it as quick without NASA funding, without commercial orbital transport services, which was part of the Constellation program. Yeah, I went there. Yeah. Anyway, if you're from my chat, if you're from Twitch, you know what I mean. And then, commercial crew program, et cetera, right? And then HLS, right? Like these programs are, if that leveraging the commercial market like that, and you could leverage it for the Science Mission Directorate, gets more people on board, and that keeps NASA's funding nice and stable, more than it already is, and could potentially even increase it. Sorry, that was a long-winded thing. I didn't say long story short this time. It's just I think it's better to try and it's better for my sanity and I'd hope it's the same with you guys, to try and figure out a way to rectify this, because nobody likes this. Nobody here watching the stream is happy about this. It's been 80. Yeah, exactly. Simultaneously, I think it's also important to look at how funding has gone in the past. The space shuttle got made because everybody got enough fingers in the pie. And you can say whatever you want about the shuttle. I think the shuttle's amazing. It's an amazing piece of kit. If you don't like the shuttle and you say, oh, it's just a poor project. Well, what was Apollo then? You know what I mean? It's clear that this system can work. It's clear that the way that NASA gets funding can work. We put people on the moon using that system. We're the only ones that have done it. The system can be leveraged correctly. And Jack, I think this is the big thing that you touched on. It's the willpower to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's much more. Sorry, I'm just going to conclude. I'll shut up. I think it's much more productive to try and come up with a solution here than just sit here and whine about it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because I will just sit here and whine about it. So it's definitely
Sorry, man.
It feels better to try and come up with solutions. I guess where I'm coming from is I don't feel like there's any measurable way in which I could even propose or enact a solution. I feel like there's so much entrenched momentum with how NASA works, and it is a jobs program. And that, to me, isn't necessary. I mean, there's good and bad. Yes, we should employ smart people to do hard, challenging jobs in the space program. Absolutely. We should retain that expertise rather than letting it lie fallow. Yes, absolutely. Do I think that we should have senators and Congress people trying to get a little piece of the pie for their constituency at the expense of other parts of the program? Or Senator Shelby is a perfect example, basically taking fuel depots off the table for an insane a couple decades just because they didn't like depots because it threatened their constituents. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too political, and it's just put it this way.
See what I mean? This is why
In
I
my
offer
opinion,
solutions instead.
A lot
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot of the best films, to me, are a result of the auteur setup. People like your Stanley Kubrick, where the film is the result of a singular vision on the point of a director who makes it happen. And when you get designed by committee, you get movies that ultimately end up, a lot of the time, I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the time, they don't have a soul. And they don't know what they're trying to be. They're just trying to please the most amount of people and get through it that way. And I feel like Starship, in a lot of ways, is akin to what I'm talking about with a movie made by an auteur, by a singular director, Elon. And a lot of the things that we like about Starship are the result of it not having been designed by committee. And so I hesitate to ascribe good things to that methodology, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No soul in trying to please everyone, so you're saying it's Ginger.
Oh, gosh. Oh, jeez.
Shh, Jake will hear you.
He's fine.
I mean, Jack, that's up to the executive. The executive branch is the one that denotes NASA's plan.
Right.
If I'm not pointing fingers. Pointing fingers is a waste of time. That's what people who don't know how to solve problems do. It's up to the executive. You go back to the Apollo program, President Kennedy. We choose to go to the moon, right? We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they are hard. That's where that singular power comes from. It comes from, actually, it's particularly in this scenario, it's the vice president, because the National Space Council and how we have it set up nowadays. But it comes from, for NASA's funding, it comes from the executive, and if space flight isn't a priority for the executive, then for the executive branch, then there you go. But here's the thing. It's up to us to let them know. It's up to us. That's why I do what I do. That's Sawyer. That's why you do what you do. That Jack, that's why you do. That's why everybody here does what we do. Right? We're trying to get people interested in space flight and show how it's cool, and most importantly, show that it's vital. It's vital. It's so important. They're not going to know
because I like
unless
hearing
we say
myself
something.
talk. But yes, no, it is.
I mean,
it's really
you
about
do.
spreading awareness. Like the fact that so many people don't realize basic things on their phone, in their car, in their kitchen, the electric drills all came from NASA. It's these little things that people don't realize that they use every single day.
Tang? No?
Tang was not.
It's orange.
No. Tang was not
It's
a NASA invention, neither was Velcro.
But it's orange.
The coolest was seeing Velcro first introduced on, I forget if it was, I think it was not to tell the truth, one of the old What's My Line type shows. I've Got a Secret, that was it. In the very early days, they had someone, like a secretary, basically walking upside down with the Velcro hook and loop, as they called it.
Yes, hook and loop. It's the non-proprietary eponym for Velcro.
It's great.
Huh.
All right. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about something else. I'm bummed.
That's what I mean, dudes. You can't sit there because, dude, you say this is not good. That's why I always, I get asked this a lot on my end. I always try to come up with a solution. Have the programs work together. Intertwine all the programs. Stop pitting Science Mission Directorate against Human Exploration Directorate. That's not going to get us anywhere. And that, once again, it comes down to the willpower. And, a politician will do it if we let them know. We have to let them know. We have to be the squeaky wheel in this regard. When we're not the squeaky wheel, stuff like this happens.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, you want to talk about something happier? Let's talk about a rocket's final flight ever. Oh, wait.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I hate to end the show on a downer, but final Delta IV Heavy launching on the 28th, assuming no scrubs, which is a big assumption considering Delta IV Heavy. But that's what's going to be coming up here at the end of the month. What is it? NROL 91? Something
70?
like that?
Is it 70, chat?
No, it is. I
should know this.
70? Yeah, it's 70.
Yeah.
Okay, 70. My bad.
All good, man.
So,
actually,
launching a classified payload for the National Reconnaissance Office, which I personally love any kind of spooky payloads. Also, I'd like to point out all of these views are from Vandenberg. Vandenberg is better, but I digress.
Fog.
How do we feel? I don't see any fog in this image. Looks great to me.
What about the fog and fire that's coming off the booster?
That's hot. Literally.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I mean, it is a beautiful vehicle, and in the same way that I'm sad that everything in the armed forces is trending, it's like it's going to all be F-35s. It's like no more cool planes in the near future. It's like a lot of the rockets are kind of coalescing around sameness. So it will be a little bit sad to see Delta IV Heavy go away, but at least we get one final hurrah.
Yes. Hopefully during the daylight, because most of the Delta IV Heavy launches out of the Cape tend to occur either at dawn, at sunset, or at most of them in the middle of the night. I mean, you had Parker Solar Probe.
That was an awesome mission.
That was amazing. I still can't forget. Oh, I hate saying it. NRL 44. Oh, that hurts. Oh, it hurts.
Is that the one that scrubbed a million times?
Yeah.
It scrubbed at T-minus 7 seconds on one attempt, so the engine's lit. So they had to replace all the engines, and then it scrubbed like 5 more times. Yeah, I think its 6th or 7th attempt that it finally went off. All of these at like 2, 3 in the morning.
Ugh. Yeah.
But
yeah, I remember
it made it that much more glorious when it finally did launch.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. It is a beautiful rocket, and I mean, come on, it sets itself on fire as it launches. Like, how can you not love that?
The most metal of rockets.
It is. It's pretty awesome. If you're wondering why that big fireball comes out the bottom, it's because the RS-68As, those 3 big engines that are at the bottom, the RS-68As use an open fuel cycle. So they have a hydrogen turbo pump and an oxygen turbo pump, and those have gas generator dumps out each side. So when you go when this rocket goes to fire off, for a momentary second, you're spraying out gaseous hydrogen and gaseous oxygen. They mixed, and that's what the igniters, those sparklers, are there for, the radial outward firing igniters. Those aren't ROFIs technically, but they call them that, right, by ULA's own admission. And so they purge off that hydrogen cloud, the gaseous hydrogen. They're called hazardous gases. They purge off the haz gas, and that makes that big fireball. Now, I know what people are thinking. They're like, well, with that big fireball going off, doesn't that damage the vehicle? Yeah, you're only using it once. It's not a big deal. There are other vehicles that have sparklers where you really wouldn't want flames traveling up the side. The shuttle also had sparklers like that, but the shuttle's engines were closed cycle. It's a fuel-rich stage combustion, which it's different because you're not getting copious amounts of haz gas getting ejected from the vehicle at ignition. But, I thought, the fireball's awesome. But I thought, it'd be interesting here to talk about L70 and, talk about just Delta in general. The interesting thing is, I remember reading about Delta back in Popular Mechanics, and this was like 25 years ago or something. I read a Popular Mechanics at the freaking school library or something. And what are you going to do?
Hey. I also liked Popular Mechanics and Popular Science. Get out of here, Sawyer.
Right?
Older than EJM.
No.
By like a month or something. Like, come on. You can't do that.
I just did.
So Delta was made as part of the Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle program, or EELV for short. And the EELV program, which was ran by a guy named John Insprucker or something, you might know him. He's a pretty normal dude.
Spruck?
Yeah, it was an Air Force program. And the interesting thing about Delta is that Delta and, Atlas III were, in the 90s, built anticipating a crazy expanding satellite market. People were launching more stuff into space. We launched so much stuff into space in the early to mid 90s, right? And these rockets were built for fast integration. They represent a point in time where the anticipated demand was going to go through the roof. And I always see Delta systems and how they move the boosters around and how they integrate and put this thing together and then, tow it to the pad on a really super cool SPMT that's especially built for Delta, and how the thing gets actually put together, vertically integrating the payload and stuff. And I think it's cool to understand that this Atlas, so Atlas 3 and then later Atlas 5, the vehicles that were built for EELV, these rockets were built anticipating a market that never happened, and it's kind of like, I kind of can't help but feel kind of down in the dumps about it, right? Because it was built like the shuttle. The shuttle was built to, anticipate a huge market growth, because now you're getting 25 metric tons to space every week, right? Delta and Atlas were built with that type of integration in mind. And, Sawyer, you talked a little bit earlier about how leaving the pad out for long periods of time, you don't launch it a lot. Your pad's going to have problems because you're not using it all the time. It's just like anything in aerospace. You leave it outside for a long period of time, it's not good for it, right? The interesting thing to me is that Delta and Atlas were built to fly missions like Falcon 9, not Falcon 9 iteration of flight nowadays, maybe once or twice a month, right? And the ground service equipment for these vehicles kind of shows. I think that's a really cool thing to understand, why Delta is the way that it is now, because it was built for a very high amount of expendable launches, right? And it's important to understand that these vehicles were supposed to be like Falcon 9s of the 90s, Delta 2, Atlas 5, Delta 4. I mean, Atlas 5 and Delta 4 didn't come on until the 2000s, right? But these were the Falcon 9s of their time. And it's interesting to me to see the torch being passed. The Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle program got tossed, and national security space launches replaced it. And the NSSL contract specifically talked about reusability. Falcon 9 is an NSSL rocket, so is Vulcan, right? And Atlas can do NSSL missions too. Right. And then even New Glenn is certified for NSSL, if I'm remembering right. I could be misremembering. There's a lot floating around up here. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So I think, we could get bummed out about Delta, but I think it's cool to learn its place in history and learn why it was made the way that it was. Now, I said it was built for a lot of launches, right? This thing was built to launch all the time. You could just tell by how the ground service equipment looks. Like if you look at Slick 37, or Jack, if you look at Slick 6, Slick 6 is a converted shuttle pad, but Slick 37B has like 3 integration hangars all next to each other because they were anticipating just sending this thing out, mass production and everything, kind of the stuff that Falcon 9 ended up doing a little bit later, right? But it never happened because the dot-com bubble burst and the launch market dried up overnight in 1997. That's part of the reason why Delta scrubs a lot. That's part of the reason why, we don't see that thing launch very much. And, it's bittersweet seeing Delta launch for the last time, but it's also important to understand that, Delta 4 crawled so rockets like Falcon 9 and rockets like New Glenn could run. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
right.
important to
It's a
understand
sign of
its place,
progress.
its history. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing
Yeah.
to note is there was a whole Delta 4 family. So it wasn't like they were relying solely on Delta 4 Heavy. You had the Delta 4 Medium, you had Medium Plus, there were 5.4 Plus with the different variants, with all the different solid rocket motors, I believe, on that. On the Medium.
The ironic... Exactly. Exactly. Sorry. Yeah, dude. The irony is that Atlas and Delta were designed to compete against each other in a commercial market, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to compete against each other. And because the launch market basically went belly up in the 90s because the dot-com bubble burst, because tech companies wanted to launch satellites into space, the demand for it went to nothing. It went to nothing. And it's important to understand that that's part of the reason why ULA exists. But when SpaceX came on the scene in the late 2000s, right, early 2010s, SpaceX was basically founded because Elon looked at how we launch things into space and he said, "Nope, I don't like this. I'm going to do it myself."
Right.
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. But part of that place in history is understanding where we are today because of that perspective. I think it's super interesting. And I think that's much better of a send-off for Delta than just being like, it's the last launch,
Right. And I mean,
Absolutely.
this was like the OG Falcon Heavy in a way of you wanted a really big heavy lift vehicle, 3 cores that can yeet things into geostationary orbit. I mean, that's pretty much what you got here. It may take a couple tries to get off the pad, but once it does, I mean, it's a beautiful vehicle. It is a, I guess I'll say 14.5 out of 15 launches are successes. The first flight was considered a partial failure because they were delivered into a slightly lower than normal orbit because of engines shutting down early on the center and core stages. But after that, everything went exactly as planned. And also, I love the fact that the first launch, they went, oh no, this thing is going to blow up. It's setting itself on fire. And now they've just embraced the most metal of rockets.
Yeah, the scorchiness on the very first Delta Heavy was extra in a fun way, in a slightly concerning but fun way. But yeah, EJ, I don't have really anything to add, man. You said it all better than I could. Delta and Atlas crawled or walked or whatever, so Falcon 9 and other new rockets could run. So that's a good way to look at it, and looking forward to seeing this beautiful vehicle fly one more time coming up here at the end of the month.
Yes, please hope for a day launch.
Indeed.
Because we want some more amazing prints at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, like the ones that we have of the final Delta 4 Heavy flight that you saw earlier from Vandenberg.
Indeed. Are those still up there?
I know, a very subtle plug there. Yeah.
No, good deal. Travis, thank you for the store purchase. They say, yes, I'm the bullet hole shooter. Finally picked up what I wanted to purchase. Excellent. Thank you, Travis. I love that he's given us an out for his name. And by us, I mean me.
Yeah.
Blake Alexander, thank you for the support. They say, EJ, would you say we have a plethora of balloons? I do not get the reference. I'm assuming that's from the Twitch side.
No. Jack, hold up your hat. Higher.
Hold up. What?
Higher.
I don't know what's going on.
Chad, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what you want.
Blake Alexander, we did that one. Thank you. Wait, no, it's another one. EJ, would you say we have a plethora of pinatas? Damn, I mistyped. I have no idea what's going on.
Yes,
what is going
yes, Chad, you have a plethora.
on? It's the Three Amigos? Wow, okay, it's been too long since I've seen that.
Oh, such a good movie.
I tried. Hey, I actually saw some folks in chat saying, like Ari, like why SpaceX was getting, why SpaceX was founded. I mean, how detailed do you guys want to go? Like, I was trying to keep the explanation succinct, but I know the circumstances of how SpaceX became to be a thing. I mean, Elon flew to Russia, right? Flew to Russia, tried to launch a greenhouse to Mars, and they told him to pound sand, and then he said, "Screw it, I'll do it myself," right? That's why I said partially, right? What kind of what I was talking about kind of came a little bit later. SpaceX did lobby the government in the early 2010s, right, towards being able to get into the expendable, basically for defense contracts to get Falcon 9 certified for launching Department of Defense payloads. That's more as to what I was referring to. Could I have used words better? Yeah, probably. Sorry, it's a little bit late. I do know the circumstances. I mean, it really depends on how crazy chat wants to get into detail here. I'll talk your ear off. Don't test me.
He will.
I'll talk your ear off, dudes. But yeah, I understand the circumstances in which SpaceX was founded. But part of SpaceX trying to figure out Falcon 9's place, pivoting from Falcon 1 to Falcon 9 is because of that, because of the Department of Defense contracts. And because the state of what evolved expendable launch vehicles in the United States was at the time.
But you didn't want to fly Falcon 5?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Which was it was a proposed thing.
Yeah, I remember that. Didn't they want to air launch that thing off of the rock? If I'm remembering right?
Falcon 5 Air, something like that.
Yeah, it was discussed.
Yeah.
In disgust, it was discussed.
Yeah.
Gunfox, thank you for the $20 tip. They say, speaking of Starship, could SpaceX Dragon be used to dock with Starship if SLS does not work as NASA and SpaceX want it to? And a pun token for Sawyer. Yes.
Yay!
I absolutely see a world where Dragon docks with Starship. 100%. Like, whether or not SLS and Orion, take that completely out of the picture. I mean, like Polaris, perfect example. Polaris Flight 3 or 2 or something, I could see involving a Dragon and a Starship at the same time. Cool. Well, I think that's basically about it for this week. I don't know, EJ, did you have something you wanted to say?
Just Ari, the question. You wanted something? You working on the novel? Just something. I mean.
Also, we got to give Blake Alexander another shout out, Jack.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I see it. I was gonna do it. I will do it. I see it.
I'm gonna keep calling you out on it.
Oh my God.
Do it. I was just gonna say that Dragon and Starship share the same NDS-derived design. Yeah, it's theoretically possible that they could dock with each other. It depends on the hardware installed on each one. But yes, you could. They're derived from the same docking port. Jake,
don't bite
Jake
me.
Jake is willing, or I'm willing Jake to bite you. That was all me. I take full credit for that.
Dang, Jack, not cool. Jake, bad.
Yeah, man. Maybe watch yourself. Maybe check yourself before you wreck yourself there.
No, he wants me off the air. That's what it is.
He's like, feed me.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Seriously though, Blake Alexander, $100 super chat. Thank you so much. That's outstanding. And you're also one of those people that pops up all the time with huge amounts of support. So thank you for this and for always. They say, really love off the rails puns, filibusters, and especially movie literate hosts. Sorry, Trevor and Adrian. Please keep this going, fellas. Looking forward to Flight 4. You got it, buddy. You keep showing up. We'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
We seriously appreciate the insane amount of support. $100 is so much money. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Choo-choo. Has anyone kept track of the choo-choos? Like, we were keeping track at first there. I have no idea what our count is at this point. But all aboard the moon train. Choo-choo. All right. Thank you, Blake.
Blake, thank you very much.
Let's see. Y'all, there was so much support on tonight's stream. We appreciate it. It's always hard to do something new, change formats and change things up. You don't know how it's going to be received, but it seems like y'all are really enjoying the new NSF Live format. So we thank you for it. We thank you for tuning in. It's really humbling to see everyone coming out with the huge amounts of support. And even if you can't support us monetarily, you know what? That's no big deal. That ain't no thing, because that is how this works here. We're a massive crowd-funded thing supported by viewers like you. And you know what? If you don't want to or can't support us monetarily, that's what everyone else is doing so that you can get the content just the same. Speaking of launch directors and flight engineers, the two highest levels of our membership program here on YouTube, thank you so much to all of our launch directors and all of our flight engineers. Y'all are the bedrock on which the entire structure of NSF rests. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We hope you enjoy all of the sweet perks. Don't forget, we're doing the pre-shows. I think we might do a little bit of a post-show too as part of NSF Live. So if you're in the member Discord, pop in and check out the pre-shows before NSF Live. Check out the post-shows. Always trying to come up with some cool stuff for y'all to watch and enjoy, and just more content, more better. Am I right? So, yeah. And don't forget to follow NASA Spaceflight on all the socials. We've got NSF on Twitter. We've got NSF on Instagram. We've got NSF on the... Do we have a TikTok? I think we might even still have it on Facebook, on all the places. So wherever you get your social media needs, why did we get a ding ding? I don't.
Because yes, that's correct.
Reason.
We do. He's saying yes, we do have the TikToks, and yes,
okay,
there is short form content on there too.
Sawyer, thank you for being on this week as usual.
My pleasure. Always a fun night with you guys.
EJ, thank you as well, my guy.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege being on here, and I don't take it lightly. Yeah, it's always a good time. Always a good time.
Do you take it like 1/6, roughly? 1/6ly, like?
Yeah, maybe.
Moon?
Yeah. That's what's going on here.
Well, thanks both of you. Thank you to Jay, Ryan, and Tanner in the background helping us out with the Starbase views, and thank you to Kevin Michael Reed for running in the giant human-sized hamster wheel that powers everything. EJ, what's up?
Jack, yeah, one last thing. Yeah, Kevin, you're the man with your sound effects. Don't play when I got to talk real quick. Guys, I just want to say, sometimes, we have to discuss bad news with space. But remember, for every bit of bad news that we get a plethora of good news, and that's why we're here.
What you did there.
That's what we do. Okay, so you got to take the good with the bad. There's way more good than bad, so don't get down in the dumps about this. All right, it'll get better.
Because that's what we do, and that's what we care about. I'm trying to do a Tommy Boy there. Anyway,
car parts for the American working man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care about.
The American spacefaring man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care. All right. Anyways, y'all. You're the best. This is always so fun to do these, so thank you for tuning in. We love you. You're the best. EJ, Sawyer, you're the best. Kevin, you're awful.
You.
I'm kidding. Kevin, you're the best. All right.
No, you're breathtaking.
Well, I am. I'm breathing. I'm like literally taking a breath right now. All right, let's end it. Let's end it before it gets worse. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Oh god, here come the gifts.
Oh no. I forgot
this
we're
is the
doing
best.
gifts.
Shout out to the people downstairs that make these, I guess.
It's all EJ this week.
I'd like to give a shout out to me.
I did that face intentionally figuring that would be gifts, I gotta say.
quality face palm, Sawyer. Quality stuff.
That's the only one that was planned, though. The rest of them, I don't know.
It looks like I'm frozen, but the fan in the background like betrays that fact. That's amazing.
That's Jack's beekeeping face.
Oh, why does my face look so fat? Do I have a fat face? I think I have a fat face.
No, it's stripes. They're not thinning.
You're a zebra. Wait, did the image just change? Wait, what?
Don't make me look at my face. Come on, I hate it. Move on.
No, keep doing it.
Chop, chop.
And here we go.
good.
Following up.
Tango down to nominal.
It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage! Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed. We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Jack's frozen.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
I do. I do remember. I'm not frozen. You guys frozen?
Jack's frozen in VMix.
He's frozen. Look. Anyway. Yeah, I know we're still on Twitch chat. I get it.
Yep.
Kevin, are you cool with us being on? Yeah, it's a post show. It's a new thing.
I'm fine. Yep.
Yeah. Moon train.
Choo choo.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good show, dudes.
Good show. Minus
Yeah, it's
Jake
fun.
biting me at the end. A little.
I was gonna say, dude, dang. But yeah, sorry about. I wouldn't shut up that time, guys. I had a lot to say. My bad.
One.
Yeah, I had to try to reel you in a little bit, dude, because it's really easy to get upset about this, you know.
Yeah, it gave me a little rest as well, so it worked out.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, if I'm ever talking too much, dude, just let me know, please. Like, Kevin, start playing like a fart noise or something, you know.
Hey EJ, you're talking too much.
Yeah.
Hey, jokes.
Nah, my chat's saying, oh, too many of the caffeine toothpicks. I don't know what you're talking about.
Caffeine.
You have
toothpick?
caffeine too? Oh, is that from the? Do you see those on Kill Tony? That's where I saw them.
No, my mother-in-law bought them for me, and she's like, hey, I heard you could use more energy. I'm like, I don't know where you heard that from, but all right.
Yes.
My question is, like, do you have to eat the whole toothpick? Like, where is the caffeine? Is it just on the tip? Do you have to switch it around to get maximum calf? Like, how does it work?
5 minutes one side, 5 minutes, flip it around, and then once it's nice and saturated, you pull all the juice out of it. It's corn. It's got the juices.
Oh God!
And is it
Dude,
made of
I don't
wood?
have a better way of saying that. Yeah.
It's wood juice. Ugh.
Dude, hey.
Well, yeah,
I'm not until you try it, bros.
Sean watches Kill Tony all the time, and they are whatever the caffeinated toothpick people sponsor Kill Tony like all the time. So that's the only reason I'm aware of them.
Yeah, hey, Twitch chat. There's no better way to say what I said without it sounding ridiculous. Okay, I see what you guys are crap posting over there, and members, I don't know what you want. 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 What do you want?
You can't please everybody all the time. What do you guys? What's going on? What do you got? What's left in your day?
I have a meeting in a little bit, and probably more work.
What you meeting
after
about?
That. Just some community projects over on the Twitch side of things.
Nice.
What about you?
I got to record an ad.
I was gonna say you have. I know you have recordings.
You have to record 2 ads, Jack. Two.
I can't record the Mova Globes ad if I don't have a Mova Globe. I literally don't know what to do
Guys,
there.
get
Yeah, we
I
need
could
to
make
work
like
on
I can make a globe out of tinfoil or something. Like we could do it. This isn't a Mova Globe, but Mova Globes are really cool. I don't know.
just hold your hand out empty, and then I'll put in a CG one spinning.
I mean, at this point, that might be the fastest way to solve the problem. But yeah, work Friday night. What more do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the grind, man. That's why we do what we do.
yeah, I'll be editing that once it comes in, make some dinner, and then MLB The Show 24.
Oh, nice. There
Do you know
go.
what you're doing for
Yeah.
dinner?
No, because my lunch was jalapeno poppers and half a steak, so
That's a good lunch, though.
it was delicious.
I just had Chick-fil-A.
The Lord's chicken. Nice.
I mean, literally. It's dangerous because here in Brownsville, the Chick-fil-A is right next to Cane's. So it's like two excellent chicken options. It's like, what kind of chicken would I like today? Would I like the Lord's chicken or the dog's chicken? And I just get to pick. That's great.
The dog's
I
chicken.
tuned you out for a second. What is the dog's chicken again?
It's Cane's. Cane's Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Their mascot is a dog, so it's
Okay.
the dog's chicken.
Okay.
The
Thanks.
Raisin Cane's comes from the name of the owner's dog, which was Raisin Cane for some reason, probably because they're Southern. I don't know. I don't know
Probably-
all the
well, he
Cane's lore.
raised 'em.
Okay. What?
You must have raised him at least.
Yes, we raised the dog named Cane, so its name was Raisin Cane. I don't know.
So just looking at member chat here, WJ said member probably came and cut his fiber for yelling like a madman earlier. I certainly
also-
hope that doesn't happen since you are at our house in Boca right now.
Yes. We rely on the fiber here, so hopefully not.
Alan is asking how many choo-choos. We didn't keep track. There were a lot of choo-choos though.
There was a lot.
Apparently, people were consuming beverages based on the number of choo-choos. So
Nice.
Oh, if I had known that, they would be thrashed by now.
Yeah, I wish I had
That's
known.
why
I
I-
would have said it way more.
Ryan put it in control center.
What for the first
it was
part of
counted?
that? Oh,
I don't know if
No.
it was fully counted, but no, Ryan put that there was a beverage consumption game going on.
Nice.
Nice.
I was in the NSF live chat, and then I realized that everybody was talking in the control center, so I didn't see that part.
Yeah, no, so that's why I kept trying to throw it in wherever I could, so that it didn't kill people, but it gave them a buzz.
Good man.
Eric is saying EJ was passionate today. I actually got ready to turn on my mic when EJ was talking because I was getting very passionate as well. So thanks EJ. Like we need
You
to
should've-
talk
you
about
should've-
these things.
You should have jumped
Yeah.
in. I almost prompted you at one point because I was like, I want to hear what KMR has to say.
Yeah, I saw your
mean-
stuff in the back channel. I was like, come on, say it.
There's
No,
no.
you know what? Like my thing is
Yeah.
like there is so much more than just the spin-offs that we have from spaceflight and the idea of exploration, but like spaceflight gives people hope. Like I know it's corny, but like if you have a nation that is hopeful for the future, then you have a nation that's productive. And
Absolutely.
and that's what we're losing by programs like this being canceled. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and it really is hardwired into human nature to explore. I mean, that is what we do. We hit rocks with other rocks and make knives, and then we build fire, and then we travel across the oceans. Like human nature it's foundational that we explore our surroundings and learn more about our place in this universe, and it gives people hope. And it gives us purpose, and it's something to look forward to that's not just the dismal drudgery of everyday life. It's so important in just that regard alone. Forget all the spin-offs, forget the return on investment, forget everything else like national pride and national security and all that crap. Like, just to give people hope. I mean, that's why we all love Starship, right? Because it's something to wake up every day and look forward to. Like, let's send this thing. Let's go to Mars. Let's go to the moon. Let's build a moon hab. Let's do this. We can. It's just a matter of having the will to do so.
That's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to steer us towards. You know,
instead of the politics. But it's you mentioned like basically nationalism, Jack. But it's more than that, because the whole world comes together. Like
Right.
when the United States went to the moon, the world watched people going to the moon. There's so much more to it, and like how astronauts are always talking about how you don't see borders from space, right?
Right.
Like that happens to the world, to the people of the world when we do things like this, and it's sad that we see programs being pushed back or being canceled, because it has so much more effect than just going to space or billionaires going to space. Yes, it's done by billionaires. That's who has always pushed exploration forward.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I was quite passionate sitting over here.
I mean, I get railing against wealth inequality and all that. Like, I'm all for it. But at the same time, anybody that's like, oh, rockets and space, it's just billionaires don't want to leave Earth. It's like, have you ever met anybody of means of that nature? Like, they want to be comfy in their little island estate. They want to be cozy. No billionaire is trying to actively go to Mars. Like, yes, we should send humanity to Mars. Yes, we should preserve the light of human consciousness. Yes, all of these things are good, but it's just such a gross oversimplification and demonstrates such a lack of understanding for what we're doing and why we're doing it. That when people say things like that, it's just like, you're taking a piece of my soul and throwing it on the ground and stepping on it. It's like, no, it's not what it is. It's not what it is.
Look, we can sit here and we can pretend like every single modern amenity that we are used to in our lives, computers, phones,
GPS.
The internet, GPS, everything. We can sit here and pretend and kid ourselves like that wasn't founded by some billionaire or done by some rich person trying to do something nuts like what Elon and Jeff and Richard Branson and all those other guys are trying to do. We can sit here and fool ourselves if we want to, or we can tell it like it is. People like Jack, it sucks that, some people get dealt crappy hands. Obviously, that's terrible. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen to anybody. But part of the reason why we live in such a modern, crazy time, like with all this technology, is because of people that have the wealth to be able to push the forefront of human engineering. That's the reason why the car exists. That's the reason why we have a telephone. That's the reason why a train became a thing. Like, the light bulb.
Yeah, even down to like artwork. So much of the great artwork was, the result of wealthy people's patronage. So, there's a place for it for sure. I just like it. I wish more people appreciated the value that spaceflight has in all of these different ways, and especially what you were saying, Kevin, in the sort of inspirational way. Like, I know not everybody's a space nerd. I just wish more people could feel that same inspiration and that same joy that all of us feel when we see little fragments of the future start to materialize. Like I am glad that we get to do what we do, because hopefully, over the course of some of our viewers watching and the people that are around them that may or may not care, maybe we'll open some eyes here and there. And even if not, at least we're preaching to the choir, because you know what, it feels good to be surrounded by like-minded individuals, I guess.
Very true.
That's why we do what we do, dude. Like, the way I look at it is that, I could sit here and deal with these people who don't know about stuff that really I hold near and dear to my heart, or you could sit there and explain it, and maybe it'll become near and dear to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't like that people don't know about this stuff? Teach it.
Exactly.
Teach it. That's part of the reason why I do what I do. Because if I can get someone to fire off, to connect some neurons in their brain and connect some synapses, maybe that person down the road invents something great. It's too risky to not try.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
You don't want to. You don't want to play with stagnation. You know, I don't. You know, you saying we feel the need to explore. We got to explore this. We got to explore that. Yeah, that's right. I do. You know, I'm gonna get a little not tinfoil hatty, but I'm gonna get a little philosophical here. And this is the Twitch guys on that, and it's nothing I've never said before. But Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, I think defined it best. Earth is the cradle of human civilization, but you got to leave the cradle sometime. Right? I think our destiny lies in the stars.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
it definitely isn't here.
What do you want to do? Spend your whole existence in the cradle? No, heck no.
Humans are not built to do that.
Right.
We're only built to be nurtured to a certain age, and then you got to go out and do your own thing.
Right. All right. I am going to go do stuff.
Yeah.
All the best.
I'm going to head on out.
All right, guys. I'll see you. Twitch chat, I'll be over there in a minute, okay?
Bye.
And members, thank you for watching.
By the way, Martin, that is not a phone number. That is a code for us to send some stuff in the back channel.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking at the members multi-view chat.
I see the multi-view. Where's the chat?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Oh, there's chat down there.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can join the chat without. Oh, here it is. Aha!
Where'd you find it?
Scroll down to the members, like not at the top, but if you scroll down to members multi-view, there's a little chatty bubble if you hover over.
Oh, I see. It's been red. Yeah.
You just can't click join, or else you'll get disconnected from everything else.
Yeah.
Right. I can, you can look at the chat, but you can't join the multi-view, which we don't. As long as we can see the chat, that's cool. Hi, members. All right,
that's
bye,
cool.
members.
Yeah.
Jay got me hooked up. Where's the members thing in the Discord?
Scroll down. It's below voice text, NSF meetups, and all that, and above spaceflight discussion.
Oh, heck yeah.
A bunch of people tagging you. You should see the little things. Oh no.
I see a bunch of tags in there, but it's asking me to switch to the members multi-view.
Yeah, if you hover over it, there's a little open chat bubble that appears next to the little camera icon.
Sorry, boomer moment. Yeah, I got you. Yo.
Oh God.
Who the heck was that?
All right, I'm out of here. Bye.
Awesome.
See you, Jack.
Thanks,
I'll do the
members.
same. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, members.
We're all gonna sign off because we're tired.
Yes.
Bro, I still got like another 5 hours of work.
EJ,
You have fun with that.
It's because I'm good at what I do.
Okay, guys, you're all clear. Thank you.
All right. It's just you and me, Twitch chat. It's just you and me, chat. There we go. Bring the Red Bull with you and me, and I'll make sure it disappears. How's the mic? 5x5? Everything good? Ew, this guy again. Yep. There we go. All right. Well, it's good that we got the audio back. So yeah, I think I talked a little too much that time, but whatever. Gotta. Some stuff needs to be said. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Why is your NSF video dimmer and low res, dude? I don't know. It looks like I'm broadcasting on a potato over there, dude. Sent you something on Discord. Tried something new. You might like it. Oh. What is this? What is this?
Stand by.
What is that, Zay? Did you make this? You don't talk too much. Long conversation is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about XB1. I saw it, though. So here's the thought on the moon train. Put a linear motor on the train, and you get past all the grip issues. I think maglev with all the... Yeah, I mean... Oh, jeez. It's from 51G. Okay. Hydrology? From Real Civil Engineer. All right. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'll check it out. All right, dudes. Yeah, good stream today. Guys, I have a meeting that I'm actually late for now, that I have to go. You did absolutely fine. Didn't talk too much at all. Yeah, I thought I laid out a lot of information really, really quickly. I probably could have said it better, but it is what it is, you know. Well, thanks. Yeah, Violet, I was talking about you. Good morning. How are you? You're up early. Anyway, yeah, it was good. Like, it's just like when we do space news. Sometimes you gotta say bad news, and yeah, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? There's, you know, a good song for building the moon railway. I've been working on the railroad. Nice. For once you make my Saturday shift a bearable one, Louis, I have a meeting that I have to go to, dude. So, fellas, yeah, I'm gonna have to pack it up. Any other night I'd probably come back, would probably still play, but yeah, Alex, that looks cool. So I'm gonna pack it in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. But I just got here. You got to get past the bad to get to the good. That's what I tried to end it with, Space Cadet. And hey, thank you for the sub. I see it. I see everything that's going on. I'm watching 3 chats. And then also commentating what I'm talking about. That's why my eyes are shifting around all the time during the stream. I'm watching 3 different chats, dude. His meeting, God giggity. Nader, you think if I was having that kind of meeting that I'd tell you guys about it? Hell no, that ain't none of your business, boy. Come back for workers and resources, please. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You're all good. Took me a minute to find the Twitch stream. For now, I'm here. All right, right on, right on. Copium 95. Copium. All right. So, I'll gift subs. I know you will. All right. All right. I'll be back. Give me 30 to 45 minutes, okay? I'll see you guys then. And if you don't want to come back for that because it's too late, I hope you have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Monday, okay? You're nuts? Whatever. It's no problem. Go to bed and then start early tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. I have other stuff to do. So, night, guys. I could potentially see you back here in a little bit, okay? Thank you very much for watching. I was crazy once. All right. I'll be back in a little bit. Night, guys, and thank you.